All right, a couple things to get straight out of the way. One, Joseph, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Glad to see you made it around the sun one more time. I tell you, the older I get, I do appreciate a birthday more. Not
really,
I'm
opposite.
Not just mine, but everyone else's. Because the older, and not to start this on the bummer, I'm gonna get off this and get back to this. I'm gonna get
because like
I'm gonna get. To
I don't want to get down to the bummer road, bro.
I'm gonna get to some bullshit real quick. But the longer I live, the more people I lose, and the more I want to celebrate people making it another year.
That's fair.
Off of that, Christopher, important question for you.
What's up?
How's the Halloween costume coming?
So, I know what the end result is going to be for this Halloween costume, but I'm letting my wife is making it from scratch, essentially.
Wow. She's very crafty.
She is, and she's using all the tools at her disposal. Yes. So, it's going good. Got some work to do still, but I told her, I trust you. Let me know where I need to stand for you to do whatever you need to do, and I'll let you dress me when the time comes. It's going to be pretty fucking badass. What about you?
So we've been working on ours. It's near completion. I will say this about ours. It's a long time overdue.
Huh.
We should have been done this. And
it's not Jay and Bay, is it?
No. And I tried to get out of it.
Oh.
Like, I tried to opt out and go for a simpler thing that we might do in the future.
Because you're talking about doing a simpler thing.
Yeah, and then she was like, no, let's do it.
It's time.
And I will tell you that it is turning out far better than I would have ever expected.
Oh, good.
Nice.
However, it's also a first for us because we are reimagining the characters.
See, we're not doing ours is a theme of, but it's not like, very specific person.
Right.
The vagueness makes it a little easier.
But it's been I can't wait as long as it all keeps. I haven't actually put it all together yet. It's like I've done like the arm part, and then and I'm like, oh, that looks really good, and then I've done like the jacket part, and that looks really good, but I haven't done like the arm and jacket and leg part, and so like I'm still got my fingers crossed. But most of everything that we've done has been built also,
nice,
or assembled. Not from scratch, but
right.
Composited.
Listen, none of us are running cotton mills, so we're obviously using
right. So yeah, I am.
It reminds me of a combiner. Oh, this arm looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Looks pretty,
yeah. Well, I have to be careful. I had to be careful because I don't want to give it
together.
I don't want to give it away, but it is long overdue. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to start with before. But let's just get into it.
Hey, we're all here.
Yeah, we are.
I was looking at the calendar. I'm like, it's legit been like 3 weeks for me.
Has it really?
I can't tell.
I think we recorded on the 6th, and today's the 20th. So it's been 2 full weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, you got your coffee first. Joe, how was your nerd week?
Didn't do much.
No?
Nope. Blender. Blender is the thing. Still doing it.
That's good.
Still loving it. Just remembering an answer to the question from last week. Remember talking about things that gross you out that you can't stand?
Yes.
It is licking your people licking their fingers and flipping pages. I cannot.
I do it from time to time.
I do it.
I don't do it excessively, but if I get stuck and I can't
if I get stuck, I do it. I don't do it like as a habit.
There's other things you can do.
Give me some secrets.
Flip it, crinkle it. Or people do that with fucking goddamn plastic bags too. I've seen old people fucking lick their fucking fingers and then to like.
Oh yeah, I've done that too.
I'll be honest with you.
During COVID,
you just put your hands together and fucking rub it.
Well, when I'm at the self checkout, during COVID, I was like, I can't do that. You
shouldn't do that in general.
You can't lick your fingers and do that.
But when I bought this house, the lady who did my contract did that
to flip the pages.
Do you know how many pages there are in the?
It's like the fucking Bible.
Yeah. It was driving me fucking insane. I was just like, I think as you can see, veins popping on my eyeballs.
You ever look back through that and look at the signature degradation? Like,
Yeah,
this first one's going to be the most beautiful signature, and by the time you get to the end, it's like first initial line, second last initial
Not
line.
for me anymore. I've been a medical professional for
So
10
nobody's been
years
able to
now.
read your handwriting for years.
It's just been squiggles.
There you go.
So like I have no one like nice handwriting. It's weird looking back at signatures from 10 plus years ago. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this must be old. This is my whole goddamn name signed. Finished watching all of Nailed It. Which is great.
yeah, that's the show that you were talking about last week.
No, fill me in. I'm behind. Which,
Netflix show where people
I've heard of Netflix.
bakers.
I've canceled.
Oh,
it.
it's
Like
a
home bakers
baking
try
show.
to bake
Gotcha.
professional looking things, and
Gotcha.
like it's funny because they mostly fail.
Okay.
But like, and the hosts are endearing. That's mainly part of the reason.
So out of context, that title could mean a lot of things. Is it about crucifixion? Is it about building homes?
Yes,
I mean,
it's
it's about-
crucifixion
Is it about
shit.
fingernails?
Bringing it back.
It's about bringing it back. Bringing it back.
Did it ever leave? It depends on where you are, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like that's still going on some places, maybe.
Let me check on that.
I don't think anybody.
That's a
crucifies
worthwhile
anyone.
question
It
to
is, right?
ask.
But yeah, nailed it. Like as in completing a task perfectly.
I got you.
But
That's- that
every
vibes.
time they review, they're like baked goods, quote unquote baked goods. They have to say nailed it, and it's
Gotcha.
But yeah, I finished all of it and all the holiday seasons too. Because
Crucifixion is still used as a rare method of execution in Saudi Arabia.
I told you, I knew it.
Imposed in Islamic law is variously interpreted as exposure of the body after execution, crucifixion followed by stabbing in the chest, or crucifixion for 3 days, survivors of which are allowed to live.
That's fair.
Awful.
not fair, but
Fucking nuts.
see, I know it's
don't go to-
2022.
don't go to
But it is
Saudi Arabia?
extremely rare.
Yes, but it's not happening.
The last one was in 2018.
That's not a long time ago.
no, it
And
was not.
He was accused of stabbing a woman to death.
2008
Which is weird. I thought they kind of let that slide. I don't mean it. Mostly.
Yeah,
Mostly.
satirical. Does that count?
All right. Now, if it was a man, contributor to society.
My God.
Great fucking.
I checked the analytics. We're pretty safe.
How have we not been canceled?
Because of analytics. Because
Because of analytics.
people who listens to us by this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've degraded over time. It didn't used to be like this 300 episodes ago.
yeah. Know my heart.
We have curated our own audience at this point.
Yeah.
I watched your Love Me Hate Me video.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was funny,
I watched that too.
but at some point in the middle, I was getting irritated. I'm like, you talking about my friend?
I think that's happened to you before in the past.
Yeah, it's like the idea is funny, and it's funny at first, but then you realize these comments are real, and I'm just like, I don't like it
It's funny. Like,
because some of it is really not fair.
no,
'Cause I know you as a person.
Agreed. 100%.
Like if you have sausage fingers or whatever, yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. That's
yeah,
fine.
or breaking things, yes.
But I think the only one on there that I was like, because a lot of them I laugh at too, because I'm like, man, it's kind of funny. The thing about the thumb was funny as shit to me.
The backwards stuff.
But like, for those that are listening, I did a video on my channel where I read off the hateful comments with the dummies, and there was one that was like, they called me a bigot. And that was the only one I was like, well, that's not fair. But I think I had to edit it out because even that word is like, you got to be careful. But but I like, it's just not accurate or true. Those are the ones that kind of irritate me, is when it's just like so far off. The only other ones that bother me now are like, is one of the things that's getting to me, and it's getting to me with all of this shit, is the lack of appreciation. Like like that shit is tearing me up. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. You've been starting to think about it a little while ago.
Yeah, like posting something that I'm gonna do, and people are like, "Why?"
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even want you to be able to see it anymore. So how do I fix that? And I can tell you, I haven't quite ironed out everything, but I am changing the way that I do business January 1.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. January 1, I am changing the way I do business. It will, not you. If I'm talking to you,
You know who you are.
you know who you are. You will never get it all for free ever again. after January 1.
Wow.
Emphasis on all those words.
I can't wait to hear more about it.
Like, and I haven't ironed it all out yet, but things are going to change because I am like, you know how like you can go to a store, Sumo oranges, Joe, are the perfect example.
You like those?
They are the elite orange. There's no debating.
The elite orange.
There's
Sumo
not
orange?
Yeah, it's they're
I want to eat navel.
so I think I've given you a Sumo before.
Okay.
I think I like the Audi
Dude.
navel. Bobby's like
it is
excited.
Yeah,
Just so
he's
everybody
getting
knows.
visibly.
It's palpable.
If I walk
Palpatine.
into a grocery store and they have Sumo oranges, they're only there from like January to March.
Okay, maybe that's why I don't know of them because it's
So they only come in season. They're Japanese.
You're
they're like
obviously
You're,
maybe
you're
Sumo.
hibernating still in
they're
those months, right?
they're like special bred between this certain type of clementine and orange and tangerine, and like it's this Frankenstein monster of the most delicious fruit I've ever had in my life. Life.
Ultimate GMO.
Yeah. So with that being said, every time I walk into a grocery store, if they got a Sumo orange case, I buy it. It doesn't matter if I have a case at home. That's the rule. If I cross a case, I buy a case.
Wow.
And they're $4 an orange.
Wow.
But they're so damn good that like I'm never going to take them for granted. Mm-hmm. And I only get 3 months out of the year to appreciate them.
Yeah.
Now, let me adjust the lens. They're readily available every time I walk into a grocery store. Do I treat them the same way?
No.
Do I appreciate them the same way?
No.
Probably not. So, things that have always been there that people have, maybe I don't feel like it today or whatever. Or I'm not, or I'm turning my nose up to this, and I even feel a way that you would put this before me. And cool. Message received. It'll never be that way again after January 1. Everything will not be readily available to everyone all the time.
Interesting.
Some things will be,
Yeah.
but not all things.
Yeah, you more curated, but you've been talking about wanting to change things
Yeah.
for a while. So
Yeah,
like,
because
it's cool to know that you have
I
a
don't
plan.
care anymore.
Yeah, you have a
I
definitive
don't care
plan.
about my channel. I don't care whether it succeeds or fails. I don't care anymore.
I mean, Patreon's where your attention is, and
Correct.
you just happen to post stuff.
And it's where I get the most, like, I put a lot into it. I get a lot out of it.
and that's where the community is.
Yeah. And that's true as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fair.
And also, like you got enough paychecks from YouTube for all your toys already.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're almost completing your lines as you've been for the last 10 years.
And I got a feeling YouTube's getting ready to fuck me pretty hard in December. But I'll update everybody on that soon. But I got a feeling they're going to fuck me out of $500.
Oh, boy.
Got a
Wow.
feeling. But I'll update everybody on that when the time comes. And that will definitely be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah. But
Yeah, but YouTube is still like, I'm hoping YouTube get their stream game together because like they have the potential of being I think for sure a better platform than Twitch.
Yeah.
Especially for
everybody
creators.
who streams there, you have to use a third party. Like for the Realm shit, we use StreamYard.
Yeah.
They don't. YouTube should have fucking bought StreamYard or something and just incorporated it into their platform.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody's so worried about keeping up with TikTok that they're kind of missing the forest from the trees.
Yeah, just like when everyone was trying to keep up with Instagram when Instagram became...
I mean, just on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, everyone's settled, it always settled into their own niche because they have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't fucking do everything. Watched as part of, I guess, Halloween month, October, watching horror movies on movie night, watching the original Japanese Ring.
Oh boy, I've heard it
doesn't age that well.
Does it not?
But I mean, it's
That sparked something for me.
it's classic, and it kind of defined a genre in overseas. Like Ring was a phenomenon that like where Japanese horror became known outside of Japan.
I saw a Japanese horror movie that never got an American
remake.
Adaptation?
Yeah. That was supposed to be like one of the top tier ones, like up there with The Ring and The Grudge, and this was like the other one that formed the holy trinity of it. And I gotta be honest with you, I wasn't really taken back by it. I thought it had like all the ingredients to be horrifying, but it was kind of like That's fine. It was fine. It was a fun experience.
Is it older?
I'll look for it while you talk.
Yeah, but yeah. So like, I remember The Ring being a lot better when I watched it 30 years ago, whatever. But instead of watching more Rings movies, we're gonna move on to other ones. So we're all watching the Japanese The Grudge. Upcoming week.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a bunch of Japanese Ring movies, just like there's a bunch of American Ring movies.
I didn't realize that.
I think the American Ring movie is better.
Yeah, really?
As first one, at least. The first American Ring, it's really good. And I think it's better than the original, but it has 20 years and also is catered to a Western audience. Yeah. So maybe like our taste could be a little bit different. But funny thing about the Ring movie that I don't remember is that the outro was a bop.
Oh, yeah?
It's a horror movie, right? And all of a sudden it's like 90s techno at the end.
Really?
Like, if you want to look that up and just play an excerpt,
it sound more like it would be in like the Blade movies or something.
Yes, you watch it because the Ring's like slower. It's more suspense than anything. It's not that scary. It's a lot of dialogue, right? Not a lot of background music.
Yeah,
it's just background cue, like. And then you got this outro. But yeah, if he pulls it up, we can listen to it. If he, you look it up for yourself.
There you go.
Let's see. What? Oh, I don't like receiving presents. Right? This was my
correct.
birthday.
I know the twist of this. I think when you were here with Shoki for the Shoki thing.
Well, that's tattoo.
Because that was. It turns out it wasn't even the Gundam. Like
no, inside was a fucking Gurren Lagann thing. This fucking. It's the drill.
Oh, okay.
That I didn't even get for myself because I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to pay that much money for that drill.
Right.
But it's great.
Bobby says that all the time.
I spend a lot of money on drill.
Do you though?
I do.
You know how many drill rappers are on Patreon now? I don't need it.
No.
You know how many drill artists are sustained by Bobby alone?
Bobby, you know how many mouths he's feeding?
I probably spend $20 to $40 on drill a month.
Wow.
I would imagine.
I think that's how. I don't think anyone. I didn't know people spend money on drill music.
Yeah, because I buy it. You know, and especially with them because like Laura doesn't like much of it, right? Because it's fucking hyper aggressive. But like there are a lot of them. A lot of the drill music has beautiful music. Like it's part of the allure for me. It's like Marilyn Manson, right? It's like the mix of the beauty and the violence. Like a lot of the music is actually pretty like beautiful, you know, like chords and strings and blah, blah, blah. And then it has this super violent stuff over top of it. I like things like that juxtaposed. So like Laura every now and then will get turned on to something. She's like, oh, I really like the beat of that. And she liked this one and she's like, oh, I can't find it. And I was like, because it's been removed from all streaming services.
But you own it.
But good thing I bought it. Yeah.
We made a critical mistake, Joe. We mentioned drill music.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
And owning music and buying.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. But I found one thing I am willing to accept.
Okay.
That I'm happy about.
Okay.
Nudes.
Nudes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it as a joke. On stream, but then think about it. I was like, yeah, it doesn't cost people anything other than trust.
Other than trust and dignity,
right?
Trust and dignity.
wrong pads.
Also, it kind of works.
Yes, but like, think about it. If someone's willing to send somebody their nudes, unless they're just really open, right?
Right.
There's a lot of faith that you are not doing anything nefarious with that piece of thing that you can blackmail people with, right? Or share. And I did receive one. And that was what made me think. I was like, oh, wow.
From a dude?
Thank you. No. I mean, it's fine if it's a dude. I specifically said... It said ladies over 18. Because we don't have our 18 plus filter on our stream anymore. But yeah, I got one and I was like, wow. So I'm going to ask for that from now on.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone wants to give me a present, send nudes.
Yeah, same.
Right? Why haven't I thought to ask till now?
Time to buy the Manscaped kit.
Got wise.
This is for Joe's birthday.
To Bed Bath & Beyond I go.
That's right.
I just got wiser with age.
You guys gave me shit about Sears not being open anymore recently. I made some comment.
The one in the Frederick Mall is not
still
open.
there.
It's not open.
Oh, it is.
It wasn't open when I was in that mall a couple weeks ago.
I was just there recently, and it was definitely open.
It must be open weird hours then. 'Cause
That's probably true.
This was at like 7
that's
o'clock.
a weird thing.
It was 7 o'clock on a Saturday, and
They
open.
open from 10 to 1. That's it.
Yeah.
Did they sell catalog? Isn't Sears catalog a big deal back in the day?
It was. It was like you got the Sears Christmas, the Wish book. That's where we.
J.C. Penney's also.
Penny's had one too. Yeah.
And so did Best. Do you remember Best?
I didn't have
Best
that.
Buy?
downtown.
No, it was called Best. It was a store. It was around here, but it was another one that was like pretty exciting to get there because they had a couple. They would have 4 or 5 pages of toys.
Now it's like Amazon's the main one that sends a book out now.
Yeah,
Is it toys?
And-
Look at, I thought it was lingerie we looked at.
That was like the fall and summer catalog.
So that was for Victoria's Secret for me, or God, my mother was a whore. Frederick's of
Frederick's.
Hollywood.
Fredericks of Hollywood. Yo, bro, I've bought many things from Fredericks of Hollywood.
Adina Howard probably shopped there.
Yeah, she.
There's nothing wrong with the Fredericks, bro.
No.
No, it's just wrong when your mom was getting it. That's the problem,
Well-
Joe. Keep up,
Is it?
dude. I never. Oh man, I probably shouldn't tell this story.
I mean, your wife's a mom.
But, so towards the end of my mom's marriage with her third husband, he went away on a business trip, and she went to go pick him up from the airport, and she had a trench coat on. And she pulled my wife aside and said, "This is what I'm picking him up in." And opened the trench coat, and it was like this, like it wasn't the trashiest number you've ever seen, Joseph, but it was invited to that party. It was like a nightgown that was form fitting, and it was black, spiraled like a candy cane between black and sheer, like black and black sheer. And I remember Laura came in and was like, "Your mother has a power muff."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If you're going to wear that and a trench coat, you might as well groom some. Not that you
Dude.
have to shave it all. I know that's not everyone's taste, but maybe he
Hey, boomers, am I right?
maybe he
my
liked the power
God.
muff. Different strokes, different era, man.
Yeah.
They like the power muffs back in the day. But also, like, I would love to be greeted by that trench coat and the trashy number underneath.
Yeah, I don't think he was into that. I think it was too. They were close to being, or I think it was like, he was trying to install the relight the flame a bit, but it was. I think the ship had sailed.
Yeah.
Hate to hear it.
Yeah.
Hate to see it.
Hate to see it.
I know you did.
Hate to know about
you
it.
didn't get this. Yeah. Hate to know. Yeah. Why did Laura have to tell you about that?
I think the shock and awe.
She had to.
She had to tell
She had to
somebody.
verbalize it.
She had to tell somebody.
You live with that stuff in your head too long. It's going to
Yeah.
drive you crazy. Bobby, I got something
Somebody
to tell
else has to know.
I got something to
Somebody
tell
has
you,
to know.
and I don't want to tell you, but I got to tell somebody, and I don't want to tell nobody else but you, but I don't want to tell you, but
Yeah. PM.
Let's see what else we got. When you go through a drive-through, right, or even call for pickup for food, they often start with, "Would you like to try blank?"
yep.
Do you ignore that and just be like, "I would like to order," or do you say, "No, thank you"? Can I make my?
I think
I don't know what the right answer is, but a lot of times I feel like I just completely ignore the sentence.
You want to hear a funny story? Mason's girl used to work at Wendy's when they first got together. Yeah. And she said, "It was like, hi, welcome to Wendy's. Would you like to try the chicken Asiago?" And even before I get it, would you like to try the chicken Asiago? 4 for 4. Because they got the 4 for 4 combo.
right.
Or,
Yeah.
Let me get a biggie bag.
Yeah.
I honestly,
I
what
know
I
the
do is I was
oblig-
like, would you like to try a combo today? I was like, yeah, let me get, I basically just take that as the greeting and then tell them what I need to
So I say no thanks.
You say no thanks. Okay. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't.
But I'll be honest with you. There's only 2 drive-thrus that I ever go through:
I wish my life was that simple.
Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. And Popeyes once in a blue moon.
Yeah. Usually.
And Chick-fil-A, there's somebody right there dapping you up.
Yeah,
so.
at Chick-fil-A, it's always like,
What up?
"Welcome to Chick-fil-A.
What up,
How may
folks?
I serve you?"
And there's
It's
somebody
always
standing
that.
in front of you. Yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah. So I rarely come across it. I wish I did more often, Joe, but I'd be as big as this fucking house. They fucking roll me out of here.
Yeah. Just like because you guys don't work retail, but like there are things that we have to say sometimes.
Bro, I lived that life. I worked retail for 20 fucking years.
But you don't, not now. You've had to say things.
Thanks for calling Advanced Auto Parts and Batteries. This is Chris. How can I help you?
I worked at Dollar Tree.
How did you answer the phone?
At Dollar Tree?
Yeah.
They didn't give me that responsibility.
They didn't trust you with the phone.
I was a stock boy.
I'd love having fun with it. I do so. Like, it's a great day at Advanced Auto Parts and Batteries. This is Chris. How can I help you today?
They'd be like, go get a box of plastic water guns out of the bag and fill up his basket. Like, I'm on it.
I wish. I hate the fucking phone. That's like the worst part of my fucking job.
I have to answer the phone now. I'm not supposed to technically, like, but like
Not after what happened.
No. Just in terms of like
I mean, legally,
younger people should be doing it.
Yeah.
But I do it at work all the time, and I have my little, but it's very short. It's like, you know, I honestly I pick up the phone and I'm like, Mopping Company. Bobby speaking. Like, you know, like,
yeah, I try to distill it to as little as possible. We have a blurb rather say. I never asked the flu shot thing because I'm like, not everyone's fucking calling as a customer. It could be a fucking sales rep. That's why I was asking, because like I'd be calling places and they'd be saying things that are completely irrelevant to me.
Yo, but the truth is, man, there must be a wide population where that shit has an impact, and this is why I say that. Like, comment, subscribe. Mm-hmm. Everybody fucking says it, right? I've never fucking said it. However, it must have an impact because people continue to say it. Even people that I respect.
Or you just think it has an impact.
Yeah, but I'm like, there's people that I respect that make their living out of this. Like, I'll give you an example. Mr. Sunday Movies, right? I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant. And he definitely plays the game, but he doesn't give a shit about, you know, he doesn't give a shit about the bullshit. And he's not like ever gonna, you know, be one of those like just fucking cringy YouTube personalities.
Right.
But he will be like, you know, if you want to do us a favor, hit us like button. Really, you know, like he'll go through it. So like, I trust him. It's his business.
Yeah.
So I trust that it has an impact, but I just feel shitty doing it. You know what I mean? Unless I'm making a joke out of it. And then it's like, well, am I doing it just to make a joke out of it? Just to get the fucking, like, you know, it's like a whole fucking thing, right?
Yeah, I always felt like if people want to do that, they would, because they're unless they're completely new to the platform. They know what's up.
Yeah. So
they're on YouTube.
I agree. Like, I like what I like, and, you know, that's that. But like, there must be a ton of people that are like, yeah, I can do that for you. You know, like just as a, you know, it must work.
Usually what happens when
a call to action, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Like,
when I know I'm not the norm, but like I usually like videos when I like them, or if I like the person, I like the fucking video anyway.
I'm horrible at liking shit. I just, because the way I consume it is mostly through a TV.
Yeah.
And it's
so
not.
mobile is a lot easier.
I have to like click 3 times and then over 4 times.
well, most people, I think most people are, right? Like, if you look at like any video, if you look at the likes compared to the views compared to the comments, like,
it's always the ratio.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And to the subscription,
but it's
too.
fairly consistent, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually find myself, if I watch multiple videos from one person, I'm like, oh, I should subscribe.
Yeah.
If I recognize them, that's what happens. But yeah, I never say good on my greetings, because they're supposed to say it's good morning, good afternoon, or whatever, good evening. This is pharmacy. I'm just saying morning or afternoon. This is like it's something I don't know. It's just something
An announcement of time.
And because
I mean, I think it's informal, right? Like if I see people walk in the neighborhood, I'm morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know, man. I've made it my habit from a long time ago not to say that. And also, I don't ask how are you. And actually, I have this on my note as a follow up. It's like, I wish we could get away from that.
Yeah.
Just say hi or good morning, whatever. Because it's 2 things. It's obligatory, kind of, to say it's a greeting, right? It's nice.
Yeah.
Something we should say. But it puts 2 people in awkward situations. One person who's asking you something they don't care about, possibly. Mm-hmm. Second person who's put in a position where they most likely have to lie to you. Mm-hmm. And have to feel probably worse for having to say, I'm good. Thanks.
You know, I've never...
it's like the dog that's everything's on fire and it's like, I'm fine. It's like, I wish people didn't have to ask all the time.
I use the super like middle-aged white dude answer and like, how you doing today? Living the dream, brother.
Yeah. Or the other one is, I'm doing...
Yeah.
But like, I usually... Like, I am a how are you? Like, but I also say...
I feel like you care.
I do care,
yeah,
for one.
That's the difference.
For 2, I find that oftentimes I've said like, hey, how are you? And somebody will be like, oh, I just stepped in a pile of dog shit. And like, now my day is more entertaining. You know what I mean?
bro,
Because like
yeah.
I get a lot of these like
Yeah, it
little
sucks,
random
it sucks.
responses, you know. And then on the flip side of it, there's a time. There's only one time in my life where I was having a bad day, and somebody asked, "How are you doing?" And I told them. And I say that to say this: it's twofold. One, if I'm going through something, or if I'm having the blues or whatever, and somebody says, "How you," I don't even consider it. It doesn't bother me. I understand, like, you know what I mean? I appreciate that you asked. Yeah, I'm fine. And in my head, I'm like, you're not fucking fine. You fucking, like, tell them why you're a fucking lunatic. But I don't. And, you know, and I just continue, but it doesn't bother me. There's only.
Well, I'm not bothered by the person. I'm not offended by the person themselves. But
no,
like,
but
makes me feel.
It doesn't stir me up at all. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
stir me
stirs
up
me
at
a
all.
little bit sometimes.
And the only time, though, that when my grandmother passed, and I came back to work like 2 days later or whatever it was, and my supervisor said, "How you doing?" And I looked at him, I was like, "Not good, man. I'm not good." And he was like, and I could see in his face, like, fuck, I should not have asked. And I think he was actually being sincere.
Yeah.
He was asking me how I was doing because he knows my grandmother just passed.
Yes.
He just expected to get the normal tough guy answer of, yeah, you know, what are you going to do? Life and death, am I right? But I wasn't okay. You know, and I answered it honestly, and not that I wanted him to fix me because I knew that was beyond his control, but I could see in his eyes that, like, fuck, tactical error, shouldn't have asked, blah, blah, blah. And that's the only time I ever felt weird about it in my life. But I do remember it, you know, obviously.
But
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a thing that just, you know, more thoughts I have in my notes.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Okay.
That's all I did.
Christopher?
Been around the world, I fucking hate airplanes. So I wasn't here last week. I was in beautiful. I was staying in Hilton Head.
Oh, you should have stopped by and seen my old man.
I thought about. I seriously was like legit. I was like, that's an old fucking town. Like there's a bunch of old people there. Yeah. I mean,
Some towns are just like that.
and honestly, in
old people
October,
magnet.
in October, that's what you're gonna get. It isn't like, you know, people are working in school and whatnot. So I want a trip with work.
Okay. Lucky.
Yeah. So we went to, we stayed in Hilton Head and we went to Savannah. We went fishing one day, which historically when I'm gone fishing with work, I normally get seasick or whatever. This time I took Dramamine, more like Dramamine.
Am I right?
So when I was on one of these other excursions, one of the boat captains is like, the trick is you take Dramamine the night before. Then you take it again that morning. And I did that and I was fine. The fishing was awful. We didn't catch any fish, but we had a blast. And I'll tell you one reason we had a blast. And I've talked about this before. I think I mentioned it like when me and Kelly and Brian Brink were coming back from Nashville, that we just played music and talked about that music. So we had some people, some really long teeth, Bobby.
Yeah.
Some 60-year-olds, you know, in their late 60s guys that were on the trip. And one guy, Robert, I talked about him before. He's the dude, like, he has no corners. He's just like the smoothest operator. He was on the boat, and the kid that was the boat captain, he's like, "Hey, you guys want to play some music?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'll hook my phone. I was like, "I'm going to put on a 70s rock playlist," which
Just one drill.
It's the best. I mean, it's arguably the best era of rock and roll music.
It is. And it was just cool to like, Robert, what do you remember about and he'd tell me stories about, you know, this song and that song. And because I think we all tie like a lot of music at some point, like you have that song remind you of something, right?
Prom.
Yeah.
Whatever. So that was fun. I've drank more in the past 2 weeks than I probably drank in the past 2 years. I feel right now,
I probably drank as much in the past 2 weeks as I have every week the past 2 years.
well, see, I don't honestly, like, if I'm going on one of these work events, I kind of like prime myself and drink like the week before at home, just so it's not such a shock to my system.
Right.
But like, I haven't drank. Well, I had a Bloody Mary for breakfast yesterday, but other than that, I'm like, my body's just like
sober as a judge.
It's rough. So, yeah, it was a fun trip. It was a nice resort. You know, we did a port tour. I want to talk about this, of Savannah. So Savannah is the second largest port city on the East Coast behind Newark.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah. And they took
Not Baltimore, huh?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah. So we took the port tour and got to see like the kind of logistics around the shipping containers and the way that operates, and like we got to see a international paper company, obviously. But they had like the log trucks would pull up, this giant crane grabs the logs and it drops them in this thing. It's a big chute, and it's kind of like a hot dog in a hallway, Bobby. It sends it down here, and it shears off all the bark at once.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just interesting to see that.
Yeah.
And then watching the shipping.
I felt like he was lining me up for a joke. That's why I was a bit cautious.
No. So then we got to see the shipping containers, in the on and off process. So
right.
They've got these cranes that come up and they connect and pick up the containers and offload them, and that's how they bring them on. And the operators are sitting at 45 degrees angled down. Mm-hmm. They work 8-hour shifts, 2 hours work, and then for 2 hours they have to go lay back for 45 degrees for 2 hours because people's eyes were falling out because they were doing this so long. The gravity.
For real?
Yeah. So there's probably some 60, 70-year-old dudes with eyeballs missing. I don't know. That's just what this dude told me. And
Is he pulling your chain?
I don't know. Well, I mean, look, if you...
Dude, pulling your chain is some old man shit.
I am old, man. I've turned 41 now. I'm old.
That's right, Joe.
Everything changed.
I see your teeth.
Everything
Yeah,
changed.
your selfies don't tell me that.
I started asking for nudes, fucking saying pulling my chain.
Yeah. I had an awful flight home. It was a direct flight. I flew out of Reagan, so it was supposed to be Hilton Head to DC. The weather was bad, although we didn't see any bad weather. And I knew once I saw the plane start leaning a whole lot, I'm like, they're fucking circling.
Yeah.
Well, after about 30 minutes of that, the pilot said, we're going to have to go to Richmond and get some fuel. We sat on the tarmac for 2.5 hours in Richmond.
Oh, dude, it's brutal. It's fucking making me feel anxious just thinking about
Listen,
it.
I paid out of pocket to upgrade to an exit row seat.
Just to get some feeding.
And I'm so glad I did, because if not, I would have been like...
Les Mis.
Been awful. Would have been awful. So, came home.
Being a giant person, that's not good for planes.
Yeah. Left last Monday, week before last. By the time you hear that, it was 2 weeks ago. Left on Monday, came back Thursday, and was home for the weekend. And then I left this Monday to go to Nashville for the cool thing about this Savannah thing is most of the time when we do this stuff, we have customers with us.
Savannah's a cool town too.
Yeah. Most of the time when we do this stuff, we have customers with us, but it was just all internal people. So I got to meet some people in a different way than I have before.
Right.
So this week, I was in Nashville basically for 48 hours, and I feel like I was there for 3 weeks. We did so much, and you get to a point, people get familiar enough with you where you're coming to the bar, they just know what I drink Jameson and ginger ale, and it's just sitting there waiting on me. And like we had a kind of pre-game meeting about this, and like let's try to keep everybody out of the bars if we can. So we did what we had to do too. We had like free time Tuesday, and me and my boss were with this group, and we're like, let's you guys want to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame? You want to go like there's this moonshine tasting thing. We just want to go to the rooftop bar. So away we went.
Wow.
So I started drinking at like 1 o'clock, and I didn't stop till about 1 o'clock.
It's like Skullfest for me.
Yeah, so I was definitely feeling it.
3 sheets to the wind, as it were.
I was surprised you guys are still drinking so much on your work trips. Didn't some wild shit happen the last time you guys was drinking on a work trip?
No, not us.
Somebody got
else.
fired?
No, it was somebody wrecked a scooter, but it was not our group. It was another group.
I thought someone was starting fights and shit. I don't know.
I did hear. Yeah, there is a story about that, but it's not worth telling, and it doesn't involve me. So, I watched a bunch of shit over the weekend.
Nice.
Oh, and I forgot before
You
that.
watched stuff on the plane?
I went to
yeah, good question.
Kelly and I went to AEW in DC.
Okay,
that was a fucking blast.
Speaking of AEW, speaking of wrestling, why do you guys want action figures that sweat?
Okay, well, those are from the 90s.
You have bottles.
You still have to explain yourself.
Into the action figure, and you push the head down, fucking it gushes sweat.
I know. Those are Jack specific figures from the 1990s. I had a couple of them out of morbid curiosity.
Okay.
No. If you have morbid curiosity, you got one. You got a couple that you want it.
Well,
right? Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
You have to remember where we were in the world with wrestling. It was the hottest thing because
so hot
Stone
that you're
Cold,
sweating.
DX,
Your action figures.
NWO. Bro, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you?
I want you to apologize.
I'm not apologizing for shit.
But But okay,
I don't know.
Where
I didn't
are
come
they?
up with where are we?
Your sweaty action
All
figure.
my wrestling figures got sold when I was running my wrestling promotion. So if I had them, they were
I didn't
gone.
know they exist till
If
like
anybody
just,
has
like
one
2 days ago.
and wants to get rid of it, send it to Nerd Rage.
Oh, just buy one off eBay. Somebody and send it to us.
We'll make it sweat.
And
during the show.
Bobby will review it on
Put
Patreon.
mayonnaise in it.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Put all kinds of things in it.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
This is day 7 of Joe puts things in sweaty wrestling figures. Anyways, we had a really good time. We had third row seats, and it was in it's called the Sports and Entertainment Complex in DC. It's like in the middle of a fucking neighborhood. There's all these like apartment complexes, and it's just very strange. But it's not a big place, but I think it kind of added to the fun of the show. There was this guy sitting right behind us, and every female wrestler that came out, he yelled like there's a
Show us your dick.
no, I wish it would have been more entertaining. So like this girl's name is Sheeta, and he did, come on Sheeta, come on Sheeta, like the entire match. And he is like, he's on the row behind me, but like 3 seats down, but it's hurting my fucking ears.
Wow.
And he's double masked, so it's like, come on. So by the time like everybody gets good and kind of liquored up here, like whatever he was yelling, the entire group, the section we were in, would yell the opposite, or it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was a really good show. It was late. Like we didn't get home to like 1:30 or something.
Brutal.
Yeah, but we had a blast.
Good. I'm not that old yet to think we'll get 1:30 being late to get home.
Yeah.
Well, when you go to bed at 10:30, it is a little late.
And when's the last time you were out till 1:30?
Yeah, not up, but
Not up.
out. Like I didn't
Out.
get home, and like
Because there's a different type of exhaustion with people and publics and,
Yeah.
all that, getting to the parking lot, like driving, like,
so I did.
I lie real quick. I lie on that shit on my physical every fucking year. They're like, how easy is it for you to fall asleep when doing the following things? And it's like all of them. I'm like immediately, but I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I read the encyclopedia every night for a good hour and a half before I even get a little yawn going on. You know what I mean?
So one more thing about Savannah. So the scenes in Forrest Gump where he's sitting on the bench was filmed in Savannah. The bench isn't there anymore.
What?
There's not a placard for it.
That's
I
crazy.
found out later because we talked about it like, yeah, it's here, and like we kind of were doing our own thing, but I was with this group of people and they're just wandering around looking at stuff, and I'm like, hey, I want to go try to find this Forrest Gump bench. I'll meet you guys back, wherever. So I Google it on my phone. I'm like, all right, well, it's actually called Forrest Gump Park. Well, we actually went through this park a few minutes ago, but there's nothing here. So I'm looking around at people, and I don't know if you guys would ever do this. I'm looking around at people. I'm like, those are definitely tourists. Those are tourists. That dude looks like he might live here. I was like, hey man, do you live here? He's like, yeah, what's up? I was like, I'm looking for the Forrest Gump bench. He's like, it's not here anymore. I'll show you where it was. So he walks me over, and it's like, it was right here where these shrubs are.
And not even
Like,
a plaque or nothing.
There's nothing. Apparently there's some sort of like museum in town, and
Oh,
it's
they
in
took
that
it?
museum now. But I'm like, why would you not have
Something.
a wrought iron bench? I mean, I could imagine if it was a wooden bench and like over the years people fuck with it. Just put a fucking wrought iron bench there and a little placard.
Yeah.
Or Paramount may be like, nope, don't do that. Who knows?
You would think the city would have the right to that.
That is a cool city, and it's open container too, and
That shit, that little strip down like on the water
Yeah.
with all that's a cool spot, man.
I'll tell you a funny story. One of the guys that was with us, he's very quirky. He and I actually have kind of similar personalities, but I think mine's turned knob one way and his is the other. But he's like, he covers Georgia he does what I do, but in Georgia. And he's like, we want to eat this particular place. But he's like, I can't remember the name of it. I know what it looks like on the inside. We wandered around for 30 fucking minutes while he stuck his head in all these places. And we ended up going back to the place we started.
He didn't find it.
No, I don't guess he did. But I think overall, all this travel is probably, people always be good exposure for you. I think it really was, because I
Nice.
really got to know some of the leadership that I didn't know that well. My boss has a peer who's basically my age, and we talked about gangster rap and fucking country music and growing up in the 90s, and it was just cool to.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
think it was good career.
Networking actually serves purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and this trip in Nashville, I had to basically, they're like, all right, this is your group, you take care of it. So I had 4 people that I never met before that I had to basically, I was their handler, and I, kind of made sure they got where they needed to be and stuff.
Right.
And I got some kudos on
Nice.
doing that. So, I watched a bunch of shit basically over the weekend, and then some on the plane. and this is in no order whatsoever.
Sure.
On Netflix, Bobby, you probably heard of it.
I canceled it. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard. I've gotten to where if I'm working, like in the shop doing dioramas, which we'll talk about that in a minute. Documentaries are great because you can passively watch it because they basically tell you everything. Yeah. I mean, you can look at the screen whenever you want, but somebody's talking, right? So there's one other call. It's the Redeem Team. You guys are obviously familiar with the Dream Team. I know, Bobby, you basketball. It's the orange ball with a hoop.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with that one. My daughter played it.
Okay, right. So in 1992, the U.S. Olympic Committee decided to let pros play, and that's when Jordan.
And it was a disaster for the rest of the world. They just got the whole fucking floor mopped with them for like fucking day in and day out.
Right. So what happened is, I think the next Olympics was kind of the same, and then as interest from the players kind of waned, and I didn't realize this, but after 9/11, so like the 2004 Olympics, like not a lot of the superstars wanted to go because of security,
right?
And that was the one where like we won the bronze medal, because what happened is the influence of the NBA had spread across the world, and you had, Greece had a great team, and Spain had a great team. Mm-hmm. So there were two times in a row where they didn't win the gold. Well, basically they brought a new guy on to run the program, Jerry Colangelo, who started like 3 or 4 NBA teams he started over the years. Uh-huh. The last one was the Phoenix Suns. So he sold the Suns and he became like the head of USA Basketball. And they set it up where like, look, if you want to be in this team, it's going to be a 3-year process. You got to come every summer for 2 years, and then the 3rd year we're going to play. And they did like... And it was a lot of the top star. I mean, it was LeBron and I can't touch Carmelo Anthony, and you guys probably have no idea who these people are.
I know both of those. It was Carmelo Anthony was in the Stop Stitching video.
Well, and he's from Baltimore, right?
Yeah. That's why he was in the video.
Yeah, he had B more on his shoes, and
he got in big trouble for doing that shit.
I'm sure he did. And he never won a championship either, but that's all right. I don't even know if he plays anymore. Anyways, this group of guys from that era was there, and they all played in like I think it's called FIBA. It's like Federation of International Basketball, whatever. And they got beat in that. And it was like a qualifying tournament. They came in 3rd, but they got beat by another team. So they were trying to figure out, international basketball, Olympic basketball is different than the NBA. It's a different game. Like. And guys, I'm sorry, I don't know if you know the rules of basketball, but in the NBA and in most American basketball, like there's a 3-second rule in the lane.
Yeah,
like,
you can't stay in there.
You can't stay in there's no 3-second rule in international basketball.
Oh,
there's a little bit of nuance that's different.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot
different
of
strategies.
It's a lot of high pick and rolls. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, you kidding me?
I thought that was a hairstyle, high pick and roll.
I love a fucking good roll.
Yeah, if you've ever seen John Stockton and Karl Malone, that's the best probably pick and roll in the world there was. Anyways, long story short, they got Kobe to play, and his like. I was never a Kobe fan. I always thought he was an asshole, and they confirmed that he's an asshole. But his work ethic, like a bunch of them went out to the party one night, and they were coming in at like 4, and here's this dude drenching with sweat already from being at the gym, and he was going to shoot at 4 a.m. And they said by the end of that week that the entire team was up at the gym
with him,
like every morning. He said, Carmelo Anthony's like, I ain't gonna be nowhere at 4 a.m. He's like, I was there at 8, but they were there practicing and like
leadership. That's leadership.
And Kobe's on the Lakers. Pau Gasol was a guy from Spain that was like he was kind of his ride or die on the Lakers. Mm-hmm. It was after Shaq had left, so Paul Gasol was like the big guy there, and they were playing Spain in the first round game, and Kobe said something like, "I'm gonna run through Paul on the first play." It's like, what do you mean? That's your teammate. He ain't my teammate today. In like the very first play, Powell goes to set a screen, which is basically you stand there to be in the way, and Kobe just fucking double forearm bodies him, just like runs at him and boom, knocks his ass to the ground.
I thought that's a foul.
It is.
Okay.
But he made a fucking statement and they won the gold medal. It was really cool. I mean, it was and it's sad, Kobe passed away so tragically.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was never a Kobe fan. I'm not jumping on any bandwagons, but to see some one person's work ethic can change a whole fucking thing, that's powerful shit, man.
Yeah.
Anybody listening, like if you're in a fucking work situation that's fucked up, think somebody's got to be in charge. And I know it's hard sometimes if you're not in charge, but set a fucking example.
Yeah.
right? Let people roll with that. I had no idea I was going to talk about that so long. Okay, you guys know I like Vice and the shit
Yes,
they do.
I do too.
There's a new series on Vice, and your guy, Rock the Dwayne Johnson, is actually the executive producer.
sake.
He has nothing to do with it other than he does like the intro, right? It's called Tales from the Territories. As you guys know, professional wrestling, before Vince McMahon bought everything, there was territories in all over the country. There's probably 20 big territories. And so what they're doing is they're telling stories from that, and they're kind of doing some. Did you guys ever watch any of the Dark Side of the Ring stuff? Well, you get the vibe.
I remember you telling. Yeah.
So these are like now drilled down. Like the first two that I've watched, and I think it's the only two there. They're about in the Memphis territory. So Memphis was Continental Wrestling. They were in Memphis and Nashville, and they might have gone a little bit into Alabama, although there was another promotion down in Alabama. And they went to Louisville. They did the Louisville Gardens. But Memphis, like wrestling in the late 70s and early 80s was like, I think they said like 80% of households in the market were watching that fucking show on Saturday morning. And the Saturday morning show was a commercial for the Monday. They had a Monday show at the Coliseum or whatever. And
That's really high, like, watch.
yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. So they were just telling some stories. And the one that I'd heard some of these stories before, I hadn't heard all of these stories. The one that I want to tell you is, at one point in time, there was another promoter in Nashville that they said the guy basically had dementia, and people were just telling him shit, and he was making decisions he shouldn't have. Well, somebody's like, Jerry Jarrett, who's the promoter in Memphis, he's coming after your territory. Well, he sent a shooter, which is like a guy who legit can fight, to fucking cut this guy, to cut him or kill him or something.
What the fuck?
And they made a good point. Jerry Jarrett said, the bones in your hand are the most fragile in your body, and your head's the hardest part of your fucking body. Look, what we do, yeah, it is what it is, but I'm not going to hit anybody in the head for real. So he fucking ripped the guy's eye out. Fish hooked his eye and ripped it out.
What the fuck?
2 weeks later, the same guy shows up at another show. Jerry the King Lawler, he was part of that. He's in the ring, and the dude just jumps the guardrail, gets in the ring with a fucking straight razor. Jerry Lawler's like, fuck this, I'm out. He runs to the back. Dutch Mantell pulls out a fucking revolver.
What the fuck?
To get him to go back. The sheriff of the town is sitting on the front row. He doesn't realize that it's not part of the show.
Oh, shit. Because it's wrestling.
Is that? That's crazy. And there's a bunch of other nice little chunks and nuggets in there if you're a wrestling fan. The other one is Andy Kaufman. You guys are familiar with that Man in the Moon.
And he wrestled.
That's what it's about. It's about that whole. It's an incredible story. Like how much that dude got invested. Like when Jerry Lawler gave him a pile driver, he's like, they're whispering each other, call an ambulance. Like I can't afford it. It's like $300. He's like, I'll pay for it. Just call an ambulance. And he stayed in the hospital for like 4 days and paid for it out of pocket just to sell that Jerry Lawler had given him this pile driver. Jerry Lawler said years later, he said, when we were filming Man in the Moon with Jim Carrey, he said, I met Andy Kaufman's parents, and Andy Kaufman never even smartened up his parents hated Jerry Lawler because they thought he had really done that.
Oh, shit.
He had never told his parents it was a work.
That dude is something else, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy, and he passed away like that. Out of the blue. I watched a video on YouTube about the crisis in visual effects. This is pretty interesting stuff.
Crisis in visual effects.
So, obviously, all these major blockbuster movies have a ton of visual effects artists working on them. And these people are working 70, 80 hours a week. They said Marvel and Netflix are the villains here. They're the two that really push, and they'll make these drastic changes, but they won't bump a deadline, and people are just getting burnt out. And sometimes financially, like the Life of Pi. You guys ever seen that movie?
Yeah. The tiger.
I have not
That's
seen
the
it.
one he was talking about, the Indian movie.
Yeah, it's good.
I have not seen it, but that movie, like the effects house that did that, when they went bankrupt. Because the demands versus what they were getting paid, they couldn't do it. And they showed, I guess that movie won some sort of award.
A bunch.
Well, one of the awards, whoever had got the awards up there speaking, and basically they were telling that story and they fucking cut their mic. So it's like a dirty secret. The other one is
gaming industries like that too.
Our favorite movie with our non-butthole cat movie. They said that was like the pressure to get that done, and then nobody was happy with it, and they even showed a clip of two of the actors on stage basically shitting on the visual effects team as a joke. They're like, what do you want us to do? I mean, we did everything we could. It's like they said there's a disconnect between the directors understanding the technology of how this works and their demand.
That sounds like
ridiculous.
A fascinating documentary.
I mean, it's only like a 25-minute video.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like remember when they completely changed the entire Sonic movie?
Yeah.
So they didn't exactly say that, but yeah, think about that. I mean, those people, who knows if they got paid? I mean, I don't know how the shit works. You sign a contract.
And I think the problem is like because the results comes from the artists. Not realizing a lot of problems come from the studio.
Yeah,
asking,
exactly.
Like if it looks like shit, maybe they ask what. Like sometimes you wonder why great actors are acting poorly in his movies. Like maybe the director sucks.
Like look at Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen's performance in the prequels.
Yeah, they were made to act bad. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
But you can't tell because that's the product you see.
Yeah.
I watched the Elvis movie.
Excuse me. On HBO? Mm-hmm. How was it?
Well, let's start by making sure you know it's a Baz Luhrmann production, who did Moulin Rouge. The original Shakespeare.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, so it's very
musical.
It's very stylized.
Gotcha. I'm out.
They use a lot of modern. They use a lot of modern music in it too, which is interesting. I mean,
Elvis movie?
I knew Elvis's story
Same
broadly.
way they do Romeo and Juliet.
My parents, my mom. I mean, there was a huge. I mean, everybody loved Elvis back then. And like. I think Colonel Tom Parker was the guy who was his manager, and he ran his fucking life. And he didn't kill him, but he basically pointed him in that direction because he was actually an immigrant. He was here illegally. He had lied about his background.
Elvis was?
No.
The manager.
Yeah, he couldn't. So Elvis wanted to do. They wanted to do international. He never performed. I don't think outside the States. Because that's why he had a residency in Las Vegas because he backdoored it. The guy who was running his shit had a crippling gambling debt. Like he owed
that's always
one of the casinos he owed. I don't know how much money, but basically the casino Elvis ended up performing at for 5 years was
to pay off his debt.
Yeah, and he was like showing him. He was writing it on a napkin. He's like, "You pay." I don't remember what the money was, and clear my debt and give me an unlimited line of credit. And then he got him started on pills. He had a fucking doctor that would come give him shots. I don't know what it was, but
yeah, there's a lot of people. I mean, Michael Jackson, kind of similar circumstance with like Prince. You know, like you remember Prince showing up to like award shows with a cane and shit. Yeah, you know, like when you're jumping off of like 6-foot speakers and high heels. Yeah, you know, like day in and like, it's going to have an impact on your body.
You can't do that shit forever.
You know,
I watched this. Some people on one of these trips talking about it. It's on Netflix. I guess they've done like 7 seasons of it, and I think it's on Discovery or History or something. It's called Alone. It's basically they drop these people in this particular one. They dropped them in the Canadian wilderness with like. You're literally by yourself. You film it all yourself.
The Naked and Afraid type deal?
It is, but it's not. I mean, Naked and Afraid, obviously, there's a lot of put-ons there, I think.
Yeah.
But these are literally like, do you ever watch Survivor Man? That Les Stroud guy?
Survivor?
Not Survivor, Survivor Man. I mean,
Bear Grylls?
No, that guy's a clown. Les Stroud basically did the Bear Grylls thing, but he did it all by himself. Like, he'd set up all the cameras and everything. So this is what this is. They give him all these cameras, and it's whoever can stay the longest, you win $500,000, which is a life-changing amount of money for anybody. But you know did
they all go at the same time?
Yeah, but they're all spread out,
so they won't run into.
No, I don't think they'll. I mean, they may have.
It's cool though. Do they not know if anybody else left?
No.
That's the cool part. Like everyone could have left, and you're still there for months by yourself.
Well, I'm sure they tell you like, hey, you know, and I think there's some sort of because they're going to have to be dropping them off batteries and stuff for these cameras because you know they've got GoPros, they've got night vision whatever cameras. I mean you don't have a shelter, you don't have any food, so you've got to catch food, or you've got to fish, or you got to trap. You know, somebody brought a bow. His fucking string broke, or no, a rat chewed through his fucking string on his bow. It's like he was just, what am I going to do? That's how. It's been interesting, and it's not. I thought it was going to be like this episode's about Joe, and the next one's about no. It's like it cuts to this person and shows a little bit, and some of these people make some really fucking bad decisions.
Yeah,
like and it's a dude. Basically, first off, he had 30% heart capacity because he had a heart attack 2 years prior.
Why is he there?
I don't know how a doctor cleared him. And he basically had a heart attack. He's like, I can't do it. So he tapped out and called, and they came and brought him in, and he was okay. And the next guy that
But
quit.
you're really far away from fucking medical attention.
Well, no, they're not as far away as you probably would imagine. I think they said it's 20, 30 minutes they'll be there to you.
Yeah,
but I mean,
that's that's longer than if you're at home calling. Hopefully, calling 911.
So. No, keep in mind this isn't like it's not like they're dropping us in the way. These are people like they teach this shit.
Okay,
they teach survival.
Oh, like check you out.
Yeah, dude.
I would like to see him and
he might be able to do it.
I saw him yesterday. He's lost 50 pounds.
No shit. Good for him.
Yeah. Married life, bro.
Vegan, because he had a heart issue.
Okay,
he's on the vegan gimmick.
Almost died, and he had like the Widowmaker, and ever since he's going vegan. He's he's been exercising every day and shit.
Good for him.
Nice.
50 pounds, man. I'm proud of him.
So I watched. I've been watching Chainsaw Man, which is an anime based on a manga.
Yeah,
that
not one I'd necessarily recommend.
That,
but yeah, it's fun.
Well, thanks, Joe. Look, Bobby, I finally am watching anime.
No, I said it's fun. No, the reason is I enjoyed it. I haven't watched anime. I read the manga.
Okay. Well, Mason adores it. He loves it.
Yeah,
he did the cosplay.
I think it's all great until like the ending was lackluster.
Well, so we're on two episodes,
but it's fun to watch.
I'm enjoying it. It's Bobby, you wouldn't watch it, I don't think.
Yeah,
it's too wild.
It's only subbed. It's not available dubbed. So.
Oh, really? I'm surprised.
having
with all the hype that I would have thought it would be simulcast.
Yeah, it's not. We're 2 episodes in. It's the premise is
wild.
So there's demons in the world, and this guy has a pet dog that has a chainsaw coming out of its head. That's a demon.
It's cute,
and he he owes like 700. It basically I looked at it, it's like $750,000 or something that he owes to the mafia or the yakuza.
Yeah, he got fucked over.
Yeah, he got fucked. Although his dad died, and they strapped him with a debt. So he's been trying to do all these odd jobs. And anyways, he ends up becoming, I think the dog basically crawls inside of him. So now he has a ripcord, and he pulls a ripcord, and these chainsaws come out of his forearms and out of his head. It is wild as fuck. And then some of the other characters.
It's really interesting.
It's I don't nerd that way.
No, I know you don't.
Like,
I know you don't.
Some of that wacky. Like,
yeah, it's really wacky.
I remember they talk about like Transformers and stuff. Like on Shadowcast, we get listener questions like, "What if a Transformer could fart? What type of fart would kill an Autobot?" I'm like, dude,
yep,
not don't care.
Then the art is good. I mean, I like the series. I just wish I loved it more because of the.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen bad anime art. To be fair. Like me personally, as like a casual, I'm not sure if I've ever seen anything animated where I've been like, well, that looks awful.
Nowadays, you wouldn't.
Some early One Piece shit.
Yeah,
it's not great.
But like it shows like how a story can overcome visuals.
Yeah,
because
it's true.
It looked like trash so much so that I didn't watch it for years because it looked like trash. And then once I got into it, it's like, oh, the story surpasses the art.
Yeah. So,
That's fair.
I've lost my place, guys. I'm sorry. Diorama. So. We did this little small production run, the staircases. We didn't sell a lot of staircases. And I think there's a couple of reasons. One, every freaking toy company had their hand out that time. Mm-hmm. And 2, it's a big space commitment. And I didn't really think about that. Like, I don't even have anywhere to put in them. And I'm glad they didn't sell well because they're a fucking nightmare to build.
Are they?
Yeah, so when I prototype stuff, when I prototype, I mean, dude, just... So I have a baking... I bought a baking tray at the Dollar Tree or whatever. Yeah, buddy. And that's like when I do the laser cutting, I'll take that out there with me, and whatever I cut, I'll take. The thing was fucking like whoa, wobbly full of all this shit for 2 sets of staircases.
Damn,
wow.
And so that's like the last thing I have to do is finish putting that together, and then me and Kelly are done with that run. And we're Legion's Con is the 5th and 6th in lovely Secaucus, New Jersey. So we're getting geared up to go to that.
Secaucus.
It's a very busy couple weeks.
It sounds like my kind of town.
Yes.
Not succubus. Secaucus.
No, Secaucus.
Yeah.
Okay. So
sounds good.
I'm sure you can get that done there. It's a busy couple weeks coming up. We got visitors, we got parties, we got toy shows, we got other toy shows.
Birthdays.
When birthdays, and my birthday, I get to celebrate my birthday in Secaucus that Sunday.
Sounds great. Great place to have.
I'd say the stars are aligning, sir.
Hey, I don't know if I mentioned this, but
when the universe speaks, you fucking listen.
Chris. We're debuting hopefully several new products. Like I said, I have a busy couple weeks. We have a new floor piece coming out that I've actually sent some samples to. There's a nice little community within the Mythic Legions of people who do like web shows and stuff. And I've sent some of those out, let kind of give people a heads up that cool. We're going to have it, trying to do a little bit of different marketing than I've done historically for this kind of stuff. So I got some stuff in my brain I've got to get on the machine to finish to get ready for that. So Kelly and I don't know, is the Game of Thrones show over now? Because
no. This Sunday is the finale.
Okay, I don't know where we're several episodes. I haven't watched it since our last show, so I'm behind on that, and I'm also behind.
It's so fucking good.
Okay, the Lord of the Rings show. I'm not out on it. I couldn't tell you the last episode. So me and Kelly decided let's just let it finish and we'll watch it all. Let's get
yes.
Let's get.
That's how
we're gonna
like
the whole series.
No, because we've
seen.
I've seen
season. Oh, yeah. The Lord of the Rings is done.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
I know. I think we only have one episode of that, but whatever. We're just going to wait till we get through this crazy couple weeks, and then we'll chill and catch up on that. But I guess it's time for commonality.
Yeah,
I saw the She-Hulk finale.
So did I.
How was that?
Awful.
Did it make it better? No,
I knew
it made it worse.
I knew you wouldn't like it.
It was awful.
Oh, did you like it?
Get the cape. Good joke.
No,
Get the cape.
no,
Get the cape. It's in the bathroom. Get it out.
No. I'm not capes. I was very, what the fuck did I just... That was my feeling at the end. I'm like... So here it is. I got told that when I was in wrestling...
Okay.
I got told... First of all, let me lay this out. Do you guys know what a mark is in wrestling or in carnivals?
I know what it is in L.A.
I don't... What does it mean in L.A.?
A mark ass bust.
Oh, yeah. Mr. West Coast Rap over here. A mark is somebody that basically believes it all. Mm-hmm. And it comes from, in the carnivals, if you played the game, they would chalk your back. So the rest of everybody else would know. We mark that guy. So he's a rube.
Right.
He's going to pay a lot of money and not win anything.
Yeah. So I was told very early on, don't be a mark for your own gimmick. And that show to me was that. And look, I never read the comics. I know that John Byrne apparently had a run, and that was the whole jumping into the pages. Like when it went to the Disney Plus screen, I was like,
it went into the Disney Plus screen.
Yeah, Kelly just she was laughing so hard, and then Mason was like, "What?" And apparently, look, I will say this: that show just wasn't for me. And I think going forward,
idiots.
I'm going to watch.
I haven't met anyone who liked it, so
I'm going to watch the Marvel stuff that I want to watch. I'm not going to watch everything, because if there's a little glimmer of what I want to watch in it, I'm sure I can find it on that, or someone will watch it on Netflix or whatever. Show me, no, in YouTube. I'm sorry.
So we learned a little bit about the fourth wall that she's breaking.
Okay, finally. So we needed that.
So
spoilers in
99, 98. So
this is coming out next week. So
next week,
fine.
Correct. So
it's been out for a week.
The fourth wall that she's breaking is to another universe that's very similar to ours. In fact, I can't say for certain, Joseph, but with 99% mixture of certainty and assumption. Is completely 100% identical to ours with one exception. Kevin Feige
Fugo
is not a human. He is an AI intelligence creating the Marvel franchise.
And visually, he has a hat on like Kevin Feige always wears. But other than that, well, he always wears a ball cap. It reminds me, have you seen the movie WALL-E?
Yes.
When they get on the ship robot that comes down on an arm, it visually that's what it made me think of.
Dude, it's just
that sounds like awful fanfic.
So Hulk gets into a fight with the Abomination and a cult that at least would have had some sort of, it wouldn't have been good, but it at least would have tied the story together with an overarching premise
from the beginning.
a bad one,
Yes.
but one.
Yes.
And she decides that this is not the right move for her show. So she stops the show, goes to the Disney Plus home screen, comes out of her thumbnail,
Goes into like some behind the scenes Marvel show.
goes into the thumbnail of a behind the scenes Marvel show to go to Warner or to Disney Studios to meet with the Marvel team, to have a meeting with Kevin to address the
And they just call
concerns
him
of her
Kevin.
show.
They never say his name, but we know.
And they put her back in the show with a different ending, and it's meaningless.
I'm upset. I don't know why.
Dude, this show this show is dumb as fuck. During this week coming up, I'm going to make a conscious effort to look at the creative people responsible for this show.
What else they've done?
And see what else they've done. Because this show is making a mockery of all of it.
It is.
It's the writers in general, right?
It's insulting.
I don't even think it's worth dwelling. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It happened. I watched it. No, I don't even want to really dwell on it. I just think the only thing that sucks for me, the thing that aggravates me the most is you brought Daredevil into this world. What do you do with him now?
They've now rendered him stupid.
Kinda like neutered Daredevil.
He's stupid now too.
But maybe he's just maybe he's just West Coast stupid. Maybe that's what it is.
So look, here's another. They go into this whole bit, and this is during the show that she doesn't like, to be fair, before it changes, where there's kind of this like secret cult society where people meet and they hate on wokeness, right? They hate on female characters and all that kind of stuff. They have a secret meeting.
They say something like, "Oh, I don't like
female Hulk. She's not smart."
Well, and then they say something about female Thor she just sucks. It's not because she's a woman; she just sucks.
And they say females, Joe, instead of women because they're afraid to say women. They had to say females, like they're an animal, Joseph. The fact that they also say male doesn't have any sort of bearing. Don't get sidelined. And then what they're doing. They are, to use their terminology, they are gaslighting the audience and trying to convince the audience that you can't have a criticism of something without having an agenda regarding that criticism. There are people, I went through this shit with the Rey shit, where people were like, she's a Mary Sue. Like, why? Well, because she doesn't explain her power. Like, okay, here's Luke Skywalker. Can you explain? Yeah, but his father is Darth Vader. I was like, yes, but you don't find that out to the end of the second one. So until then, what explains it? Well, he's Luke fucking Skywalker. You know what I mean? I went through it. I argued for Rey all the time. It's like they knew it was bad and knew people would be critical of it.
Making an excuse for it ahead of time.
Maybe they got halfway through it. They're like, this fucking sucks. Let's do something weird.
Dude, Black Widow, you didn't hear... I thought Black Widow was mid, and I thought
thought it was fine.
And I thought that they threw Taskmaster away.
Yes, that's true.
But like, you didn't hear people say like, Black Widow shouldn't be as strong as men. Black Widow should... You never heard that. Like, you only heard it with this, and you heard it with Captain Marvel, but you heard it with Captain Marvel for a different reason.
Because it wasn't good.
Because it wasn't great, and she went on a fucking show and said this movie is not for white men. It's for everybody else, or whatever the fuck she said that was adjacent to that. And that, you were automatically putting a population at least on defense.
Yeah. Thanks, Lauryn Hill. That's a deep cut.
Dude, and it's not untrue. And, and I'll tell you, even with her, I'm all about you just being you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you hate me, I'm all about you being you. I bumped Ice Cube until he started liking white people.
Yeah,
when
Are We There Yet 2 came out.
When he was like fuck the white man and all that shit. I was like, dude, I was like, I can't agree with you, but I'm really digging the vibe.
But at the same time, if you make any kind of content putting it in the world, you can say who it's for. But you have no power over who sees your shit.
Yes. And like, and the truth is, I mean, in this circumstance, Captain Marvel, I hate to tell you, but you're 100% wrong. It actually, the demographic is exactly that.
It's exactly that.
It's exactly that.
What you say. That's where the money is.
So
and that's
like,
where the people watch.
So you put, so like, But don't. It's like they knew it wasn't good. So in order for them to have a leg to pivot on, they fucking Eminem 8 Miled it. They got ahead of it. They joked themselves first, so that when you did it, it took the venom out of it.
I don't know.
Clarence fucking parents had a real good marriage.
They did.
That doesn't change the fact, Joe.
But they don't write this shit episode by episode, right? I assume they write the whole show and plan it all out before filming.
Yes, but I think even when they got to that point, they're like, "Oh, this is somebody was like, people were going to tear this apart."
Why didn't they change? Why didn't they make a fucking good thing before they fucking made?
They may have even believed in it, but they knew people were going to tear it apart. And so the question is why? And I'm sure in their head they were like, "Because it's a strong female," is what I'm assuming that they thought from the message that they send in this episode.
Yeah.
But that's not why. Everyone, I went into this excited because She-Hulk is, guess what? A strong female.
Yeah.
That's what I showed up for.
Yeah.
I didn't care that she could outclap the Hulk or whatever that bullshit was in the first. None of that bothered me. What bothered me was when it was fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
The content itself.
So leaving all that alone for just a minute.
Yeah.
Hulk has a kid that they're like, oh, here's a kid.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
With who?
It's that he has a place. What do they call him?
I don't know. He's gonna look. They're doing a Young Avengers thing, or the new Avengers. It's Stony, or it's some weird, like, you wouldn't expect his name to be that.
But like even that.
But who's the mom?
Scar.
His name's Scar.
Oh,
From Planet Hulk.
correct.
Yeah.
And he's kind of dressed in the Planet Hulk garb.
Yeah, he's just like whatever planet when Hulk had
But
all
we
the
didn't
shit
get
on
Planet
him.
Hulk.
No, he goes.
We're gonna get Planet Hulk,
He went there.
or Hulk War.
Hulk went there and then came back with him, but you never see it. He just,
I'm kind of upset,
dude.
Yeah.
It's worth getting upset about.
I'm not even super invested in. The
I'm
Hulk
not getting
or-
upset about it. I'm just
like-
my apathy is reaching.
It's a joke.
Yeah,
It's a joke, and
I'm looking forward to Black Panther. I'm hoping that
too.
puts some
Me too.
skin back. Apparently, apparently tickets are on sale. I just got asked about going.
yeah.
Can things be like? I think there's things that like point of no return. Like if you shit on something hard enough, like you can't bring it back.
Yeah, and this is
To me anyway.
This is imploding. Like it's them tearing it down. Like if you think about how long it's taken them to get fans, capital F, to even start to be critical of it. It's taken fucking a handful of mediocre to bad movies and a handful of mediocre to bad shows with maybe a few good shows sprinkled in.
Yeah.
It's taken so much. You know, if you look at other franchises, I mean, and I'm just picking these two because I feel like they're the big three, right? Star Wars, Marvel, DC.
Yeah.
It took 2 DC movies. It took a second DC movie that they didn't think was great to tear down the whole fucking franchise. It took a third Star Wars movie to tear down the whole franchise. But before the third one came out, the rips were already starting. The seams had already started. So, like, if you think about how committed, how like fanatical the fans were from Marvel and how much damage they had to do to back people away from it.
Yeah, and once those guys are flipped, like I don't know if you can flip them back because like
I don't know.
they've tolerated some. I mean, I've been that way with other franchises, and also like, you know, after Doctor Strange 2, I'm out.
Yeah,
Guys, the other thing to keep in mind is, do you know what the key demographic age is? It's 18 to 34. We're not the key demographic.
Did we get aged out?
Maybe.
But do we know anyone
I mean,
in that age group that likes that shit?
But I super enjoyed it from like 35 to 39.
I know.
That's the problem.
Well, look, if we could steer this conversation in a little bit more of a positive avenue, but keep it on Disney
It's called Nerd
Plus.
Rage.
See, I know. To keep it on Disney Plus.
Andor's fantastic.
Oh my God, that show is so fucking good.
Is it over?
I think maybe 2 more episodes.
I don't know. The writing, dude.
It's so good, dude. It is. Oh, Joe, you got to watch
Same
this when it's
studio.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm definitely watching it.
Yeah,
I planned to.
is-
There's definitely no way I was going to miss that.
It is everything I've wanted out of Star Wars.
he has a moment with his mother or a woman that adopted him,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
His surrogate mother, for lack of a better term. Not a surrogate, which I saw in a tweet recently that was funny as hell. It was like, I don't think I could ever be a surrogate mother. I couldn't carry somebody else's baby and then give it up. And the tweet replied to it was, "Did you mean sir?" Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has this conversation with her where he's gonna fuck off. Basically, he wants her to come with, his mom, basically, to come with him, and she says no. Like, I've decided to fight. Like this old ass woman. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're old as hell. And she's like, I don't care. Like, it's gone too far. I can't be fulfilled running anymore. I can only be fulfilled fighting, even if the fight only lasts one more day.
And what happened is, spoilers, whatever, they basically...
I wouldn't even go into deep...
Well, no, I'm just using it as... So basically, he worked with these people, and they robbed Garrison and stole their payroll.
Mm-hmm. For a quarter.
Huh?
It was a quarter.
A quarter of, because they couldn't get it all.
No, like
what do you mean a quarter?
January to March.
Oh, 1 quarter.
Yeah.
So
like,
they stole this, I mean, a huge amount of money.
That's a lot of money.
And that did several things. It made the Empire tighten the fist, which had repercussions directly for Andor. And then it created the rebellion, because these little pockets of people that thought they were hopeless, they're like, oh, they got him. Let's go get him. And that's exactly what I cannot remember the characters. The guy who runs the antiquity shop with Mon Mothma there, and he's like, she's like, people are going to suffer. I'm like, yeah, and then they're going to want to fight back.
Yeah,
it's going to cause a rebellion. But like, dude, those scenes when the
ISB or whatever it is,
IBS. I don't think that's
irritable bowel syndrome.
Yes,
they're all sitting around going on their seats. That tension, like when that dude tries to call out the woman, Dedra, whatever her name is, and she's like, actually, motherfucker, I got all my shit ready to go.
Yeah.
And then her boss is like, nice work. Walk with me.
Yeah.
Watch your back.
You're promoted. You're out. Yeah. You know, like
I'm giving you that that territory.
Woman empowerment. Mm-hmm. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Because it was done smart.
There's so many. I mean, I did see something, and it might have been in the notes that Phil did. This show is not bringing in the same viewers as
that's unfortunate,
as a lightsaber or Mandalorian show. So
because they don't like it the same way.
So back to this moment with his mother, right? She's like, look, no judgment on you. She's like, because I've ran for fucking all my life.
Yeah,
no judgment on you. Run and take this money that you have and live a happy life.
And he's like, I want to find somewhere where the Empire isn't.
Well, and he also said, I can't be happy worrying about you.
Oh,
and she's like, good. Well, that's love. And I was like, you know, it's just like, it's so well written.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is the caliber of entertainment I've been looking for in all of these spaces.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, this is great. I mean, I'm hoping whoever does this continues to do Star Wars.
I'm hoping this as well.
Yeah, it's good. And that wraps me up.
So I have a few more. I did finish Rings of Power. I do have to. I have to talk about something.
Okay,
it might be spoilery. I don't know if you want.
It's fine.
The Meteor Man, who a lot of people are saying could be Sauron. I know.
Think about the Meteor Man.
A lot of people are saying it could be Sauron. It's not. It's Gandalf, and it's so much better. Like it's like one of those things for me that I was like, man, it puts a whole, even like now I'm like thinking about, like, you know, when he's talking in like Lord of the Rings, like, you know, a long history I have with the hobbits and all that. Like, I'm like, ooh, like, and I know a lot of the Tolkien fans are pissed off because it's like, it may not be accurate to the canon, and I respect that.
Yeah.
It's just like we talk about, Joe, the experience that you know, that you latch onto, whether or not Nick Fury looks like Samuel L. Jackson or David Hasselhoff, you know.
I never read no fucking books, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
so
me neither.
I don't care if it has anything to do with those books.
And honestly, I you saying that, I saw some, you go on YouTube and it's like their thumbnail is basically a fucking spoiler, because I saw his picture on them, like, figure that out. But I'm still gonna finish watching it.
There was another one with a whole bit regarding who Sauron is, and I'll say that, like, I never saw it coming.
Okay,
I'm not sure if I'm totally happy with it, but it did call back to a line that I heard somewhere where they talk about Sauron, how he was, you know, a friend of the elves, I think.
Once a man.
You know, and I was like, okay, well, they at least tied that in. Like, that is, you know, so I wasn't super, like, and they forged like the first 3 rings in it. and like they panned it out, and I saw this meme that somebody, because like the camera like sits on it, and they're all sitting on this stone, and they're all like facing perfectly, you know, and like the camera backs out, and you see the stone that's sitting on it all, and then somebody like took it and made a meme of it, like superimposed like the QVC like logo.
That's great.
It did look just like it.
That's great.
But I did enjoy it overall. It is hard to enjoy a bicycle when that comes out on Fridays, but it's a really good bicycle. It's going to get you there slower, and you got to put a little bit more work into it, but it's a good bicycle. But it's hard to want to get on that bicycle when the fucking Ferrari's coming out every Sunday.
Yeah.
You know,
I see what you mean.
It's a timing thing, I think.
It is very odd that, you know, this, I'll say, as far as content and trying to keep up with weekly shows, this is the busiest it's been in years.
Yeah.
There's so many.
But for me, I mean, I've never watched so many shows at once, I think, in my life.
Yeah.
So moving on to House of Dragons, there's this.
Keep your spoilers tucked down on this one, because I haven't been spoiled at all on this.
Okay, well, there's this. It's impossible to say, but I will say that like there's would you say that there is a group of antagonists and a group of protagonists in this show?
So where I'm at in it, you know, I think I saw the first one.
If you were to say who the protagonists were and who the antagonists were, who would you consider?
The protagonist, that's a good guy, right?
Yeah.
Man, it's hard to say, because it's like everybody's kind of at each
I always
other's
remember
throat.
it as antagonizing.
Yeah. So the maybe the blonde girl.
So me
and
too.
And the antagonist would be her uncle, maybe. So what I was thinking.
Okay, so
or the queen. Her former buddy there.
Okay. That's how I saw it as well.
Yeah.
Couple things about it. Now, not the antagonist and the protagonist, but someone in the corner of the protagonist spot and someone in the corner of the antagonist spot end up facing off in this latest episode that I've seen. And what's interesting about it is it's one of the first times where I've been super satisfied and super dissatisfied at the same moment. So
sounds like Lito's Pizza.
Only
they don't cut corners.
That is true. So there's a moment where you think like, oh shit, retribution is at hand, and it's not. And when it's not, you're like, motherfucker, why wouldn't you just fucking take advantage of this moment?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, because maybe they don't even think that's good enough, and they're going to go spread word and make it even worse for you. And then I was like, oh, well, that's somewhat satisfying too, isn't it? You know, but like, it's like if you and I square off, and I'm like, I just want you to know I know, and I'll be back.
Yeah.
And then I come back with fucking hell behind me.
Right.
You know? So I found that good. Another thing that I'm really enjoying about House of Dragons is, while I agree, the protagonists are Rhaenyra's or whatever her name, Rhaenys. I'm not good with names.
I don't know. I don't know.
You've been watching this. You're really into this. But they say her name.
I did see a tweet. It says y'all can spoil the Lord of the Rings show as much as you want, because I don't know a damn person's name.
Well, it's the same thing for me with Game of Thrones too. I had a hard time with their names, but like the blonde girl and everybody affiliated with her are who I deem to be the good guys.
Okay.
And the red haired girl and everybody affiliated with her are who I deem to be the bad guys.
Okay.
However, what I'm really enjoying about this show is when I stop and think about it, I understand everybody's motivation.
Yeah,
and I don't really actually think anybody's a bad guy. It's just people that would do what they would do in these circumstances.
Yeah, that's all. Listen, nobody thinks they're the bad guy. Everybody is fighting for what they think is right.
Yes. This is an example.
And that's a good example of that.
Everybody really thinking
Trying
they're
to
doing what's right. And not what's right in the sense of like, I'm taking over and I'm going to rule this galaxy. For, you know what I mean? Not that. Just like, no, Joe B, right? Like Joe B, who we all know, good dude. And if Chris was like, hey, next week, can you do me a favor and make sure that Joe is on? And then I have Joe B sitting here. And then you're like, dude, I said Joe. I'm like, what, Joe? Oh, you meant, I'm not wrong.
Right.
But I didn't do what you wanted me to do. And it's just so cleverly executed where it's like, damn, like, I fucking hate this group over here.
Yeah.
But I get why they're doing what they're doing. They're not wrong.
Yeah. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Exactly. But I am quite enjoying it. The season finale is this week. I am still continuing to watch Succession.
Okay. I'm surprised you have gotten into that just because of the where it's set, like the whole like business.
Yeah. Well, I haven't made up my mind on it yet, but I am like 2 or 3 episodes in, and I am enjoying it enough. It's a family drama. Father owns a company who's going to get control.
It's funny. Basically, that's exactly what the WWE just went through with Vince McMahon retiring and his kids taking over.
I watched Red Rock with Bill Burr special. It was fantastic, dude. He talked about a number of things.
So you're gonna get Netflix back?
No. So Jaina got it for 2 months as a birthday gift.
I thought you were gonna continue it.
I took advantage of it when she was at school. So he does a number of bits that are great. One thing in particular that he did. I don't know if you've seen it. This whole bit on feminism and why feminism isn't real is because the WNBA has 200 to 300 people that they perform for every night, and he's like, "Not one of you women can name me fucking 5 WNBA players." That whole bit was great. Another bit that was great was when he did this bit on abortion, right? And he was like, first of all, let me start by saying I am pro-choice. Ultimately, that's how I feel. And like all the women are like, yeah. And he's like, don't fucking do he's like, don't you know me? I'm not your friend. I am gonna disappoint you. And he's like, I am kind of on the fence of it because people are like, well, it's a baby, and then I'm like, yeah, you're killing a baby. There's that part, and they're like, well, it's only a baby after I don't know, you turn around 3 times, spend 2 weeks, and it's a baby then, it's not a baby now. And it's like, but he's like, but that doesn't really work for me because like if I worked really hard on a cake and I made the batter nice and I'm taste testing it and I put it in the oven and somebody comes in and opens up the oven and throws my cake on the floor, I'm like, that's my cake. I'm like, it's not a cake yet. It's fucking gonna be. It was just fucking funny. And then at the end of it, he basically sums it up. He's like, but ultimately, I'm okay with abortion because most of you are fucking average. You married another fucking average person. You're going to have fucking average kids that just fucking sit on their phone when the fucking light turns green. I got to fucking honk the horn at them to get them to fucking go. And then the less I can have of them, the better. He's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. One of
the best.
Top 3.
Yep. I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Nice.
So, I love that movie. It has a dear...
See, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
You love any Gary Oldman movie.
It's the movie that turned me on to him. I have the poster on my wall. I have the little pops because that's all I can find. And I'm currently watching the eBay listing of a Rain Man Dracula set, which is the first one I've ever seen that's going for $5,000 that I just can't swing.
No.
But I'm watching it because I just want to see it go away and like feel the pain of not being able to get it.
Or relist it.
Yeah, maybe. It's showing its age.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it last year, and
so I haven't seen it in a couple years.
Yeah,
and it's showing its age real bad. And what's funny is it's not showing its age in the regular effects stuff, like when people get bit or the fangs grow or the stabbing of Dracula at the end. Spoilers, 99.90. Or the decapitation of Dracula. Like all that stuff really holds up. It's the shit they did trying to be extra, like when Keanu, whose performance is fucking god awful.
I think it's probably the worst. This worst acting of all time.
So he's on a train heading to Budapest or whatever, and behind him, he's sitting in the train. You see the train window. Behind him, you see the Carpathian Mountains or whatever it is. In front of the Carpathian Mountains is the journal that he's writing on, like superimposed, and then behind the mountains are Dracula's eyes. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. And it's like
somebody was showing off.
And it seemed cool and creepy in 91. It seems too much now.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of that stuff that I did notice. But I watched it with Jana. It's her first time seeing it, and it was good because it's a fucking masterpiece. It really is. Like the story of Dracula is a masterpiece. And she was really taken back by it. But god damn, that movie's fucking sexually charged.
Yeah,
the whole thing. I mean, I know, but it's
vampires in general.
But I can't tell you the difference between watching something and be like, man, this thing is really sexually charged, and then also watching something that's really sexually charged with your 14-year-old daughter sitting next to you. It's a different experience
because you don't. you know, I mean, even like, and I know obviously our kids listen to whatever we listen to, but like the first time you're like, oh, I didn't realize how dirty, you know, because you don't think about it like, oh, we should not play this with the kids in the room. And it's just
during the foursome scene with the brides of Dracula, and I got up and went and got a drink. I couldn't. I'm weak. I tapped out.
That's funny.
I thought you would try to crack a joke.
So here's a couple other things. Yeah, no, couldn't. I don't have it in me. Selena in softball, right?
How's that?
It's going great, and I am enjoying it. I'm actually like, and it's actually bringing her and I closer together because we actually have something to do with each other that we actually enjoy.
Taking her to batting cages yet?
So no, but we're going because like I usually take her to that field over in the next neighborhood over, and like you know I send her ground balls and I try to play catch with her. She's fucking scared to death of the ball, especially now after getting hit in her lip. Yeah, dude. I mean, like the ball's coming this way. She's holding the glove right here in front of her face. By the time the ball actually makes contact with the glove, she's fucking 3 feet to the right. She's sticking her arm out like it's not great in that regard. But she is physically gifted, like, and she's grown exponentially. She bats second. She plays second base. Like they never stuck her in the outfield, and she's the only kid on the team who's playing softball for the first year.
Wow.
You know, she's gifted, but like I'm struggling as a father / coach, you know, like part-time coach with her in how to handle her when I know she's not given 100%. Because my instinct is to be like, fuck are you doing? You're not fucking out there doing it, right? You know that, right? What, you want to play with the dirt now? Now's a good time? You want to build a fucking sandcastle? Is that what you want to do? Is that what we're paying money for? Huh? If you don't, let me ask you a question. If you don't want to try, should I try to coach with you extra and take you to the field extra and spend a little time? Should I do that? You don't want to put forth 100%, should I? Or we all just put in 75%? You know, that's my instincts.
Hey, Bobby.
But I remember what your dad did with your baseball.
Right. But I've pumped the brakes on those instincts.
Well, here's
but I don't know how to handle it.
I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road at 7 p.m., is she having a good time?
Yes.
Okay.
But let me tell you something else. When she puts forth 100%, she plays exceptionally well, and then she has a great time.
She's got to figure out a way to motivate her to do that every time.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
You for help.
Oh, okay.
anyone, listeners, whatever.
Candy?
Because
kids like candy, right?
Because dude,
new shoes.
I get like, you know, sometimes like during the game, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You know, or like I saw her literally moving the dirt around with her foot, and I was like, ball's coming to you, and she was like, oh. and then I was like, oh, and I just looked at her like, fucking, I see you, fucking, you know, like
kids get distracted, man. She was what, 10, 12?
Not even, but like, but I know, but it's also good to be able to focus for 5 minutes.
You know, and I mean, obviously, you know, it'd be a pipe dream to talk about now, but you could go to college for free playing softball.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Just something to keep in mind when you start. And I was talking to a guy this week in Nashville. His kid is 5 and is obsessed with hockey. Like we'll watch the first period of a hockey game and then, you know, go to sleep, and the next morning when he wakes up, he watches the rest of it. And like, I'm like, hopefully you can bottle that energy, you know?
Yeah. I have another talking point on here about Jaina getting asked out on a date.
Oh, wow.
But I'm going to save it because we're under time constraints. And I do want to say for the listeners, when we were talking about the Japanese film that I saw that I was disappointed in, it was called The Audition. We did figure it out while you were in the bathroom.
Oh.
We did figure it out. It was The Audition.
I was in the bathroom earlier, folks. A little behind the scenes.
So it was when we had to do some editing. Oh, no, you went upstairs to get your water.
Yes. Which is also the same time. So
real quick, couple notes. Seasons Beatings. Have you seen what? So it's a trailer for a movie called Violent Night.
Yeah, it's got David Harbour in it.
It looks like, I know it's goofy, but it looks like it could be funny. And if it's funny, I'm in. But Santa Claus, he's going around, he's doing his rounds. He's a little disconnected from the job, doesn't quite mean the same to him. He ends up at this house that is being taken hostage by these armed robbers to clear out their safe, and he declares war on the robbers and fucks them up, puts grenades in their pants and all sorts of stuff. And he says in the trailer, "Season's beatings."
It sounds like a great time.
So I'm interested in it. The link is in the description, but
I'm much more interested in that kind of Christmas movie.
I celebrate them all, but like, you know, I think that there should be a mix. I think there should be a mix. There should be like the heartfelt, like, you know, family movies, and then there should also be the ref, and there should also be, you know, Bad Santa. You know, there should be, so that the adults can have the, you know, still be in the holiday spirit, but have an adult moment. And I think it's important.
That's also a great. I was looking to see if I could find a poster from when we did it, but we use that as the name of a wrestling show in the Christmas season.
Oh, really?
Season's Beatings.
So my choices here were to go with. I chose Season's Beatings because he says it in the trailer, but my other option was Merry Christmas.
Nice.
I like that. All right, animated mergers. Warner Brothers Animation Studios and Cartoon Network have now officially merged, which is just a sign of things happening over there that continue to happen over there. Shout out to Billings. Billings hit me up with a text message, and he was like, he sent me this picture right here, Fixer Upper, the castle with these two people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he said, it's not today, but yesterday before House of Dragons went live, this was page 1, front and center, when I logged into HBO Max, and I was livid. This is not the direction I want to see this company go. It's not what I subscribed for. And I couldn't agree more. If they start dumbing down that network, which is, in my opinion, putting out the most sophisticated and intelligent entertainment in the world right now, I'm out.
I mean, I don't see. So it's Discovery and Warner Brothers are the same company now. Discovery has, and I haven't noticed, you know, they have a pay-to-play service too. At some point in time, if that show is on HBO now, it's coming.
I know.
It's coming. And it'll probably go up a couple bucks.
The Ezra My Seat Part 6, The Revenge.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
So Ezra Miller pleads not guilty to burglary charges in Vermont and faces up to 26 years in prison.
Is this movie ever coming out, Bobby?
Dude.
It's going to. I mean, these movies have everything nowadays.
So I think you're asking one question and you're interpreting it differently, and I 100% agree with you. The movie of Ezra Miller will come out one day.
Yes.
Right.
You're asking about the Flash movie.
Oh, okay.
And I think it all depends on whether or not Warner Brothers thinks that the movie can survive with an audience being able to separate the art from the artist in today's day and time.
Yeah. I mean, it's done, right? It's
done.
It's done. I ripped the Band-Aid off, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they completely canceled a movie that was
done
also already.
Yeah.
So,
as a tax write-off because they said it was awful.
It's not unprecedented.
Black Adam is currently receiving 55% ratings on the tomato meter, so that's not shaping up too great either. I am going to go see it.
Bless up.
You know, so I saw something recently, and it was talking about, like, you know, the future of entertainment or whatever, and it was like, you know, next Christmas, live action, Charlie Brown starring The Rock.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And then we have some questions. So one was sent via Twitter that Phil was kind enough to drop in our notes. So I'll go ahead and do that first, so that I am
just real quick. If you do have a question, you could do.
You can email us at nerdrageradiomail@gmail.com.
That way it doesn't have to go through quite so many intermediaries to get to us.
Chris, I know you be watching Atlanta. Would you kiss Bobby in the back of a van for some expensive ass sneakers instead of paying? Same question for Bobby. Joe, it can be a different item. Or what item would you kiss your friend for instead of paying?
Is it tongue?
Yeah, there's like, is it tongue? Is it on the lips? Is it like
on a dick?
Are we touching tips?
You know, like, there's a lot of.
What's an expensive ass pair of sneakers?
What about $5,000 Dracula?
Oh yeah, I listen, gentlemen.
Tongue?
If we've all listen,
you would rock the tongue with your boys.
I would. Homies, good night, bro.
Listen,
yeah, we don't see each other the same way.
I don't know. I would even shave for y'all and brush my teeth and get some mints. We could make it work.
I don't know.
That's all. I saw that question. I'm like, what the fuck? And it may have been like I'm not up to speed on Atlanta. I'm probably a couple episodes behind at this point, and I don't know if that happened in Atlanta, or maybe I just missed it.
I don't know. My issue would be like
looking me in the eye ever again.
It would be coming back and doing this show again. You know, and like
some chapstick, buddy.
Yeah, and like the way it would always be, you know, anytime I said like, you know, anything where I'd be like, you know, I just feel weird, you know, hugging a dude. If, like, you know, and he'd be like, oh, do you? How weird? $5,000 weird?
Nice,
you know?
nice, nice, nice off-white ones you got on there, Bobby.
What if I did it for a pair of ones?
some of those fucking off-white ones. Virgil and Kanye probably could.
So I don't think I could do it with my friends.
What about a stranger?
So is it tongue?
Somebody you're never
is it tongue?
The tongue is
it's a tongue kiss for something that's $5,000.
I'm out. Okay. I'm out. Right. I'm out. I can't.
What if it was a celebrity you had to do?
Look,
what celebrity did you make that
with? Gary Oldman. What if it's Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman.
All right, look, that's different.
That's different.
We all have our weakness. So, and then we have a
thanks for the weird ass question.
Yeah.
Now I feel weird.
So Mike P says, Yo Ragers, had a thought today while making my morning espresso. Do you think people with latex allergies have to ask baristas to take off their gloves to make their coffee orders? I suppose you would need to give them a big tip if asking them to take off their gloves and wash their hands before handling your order, especially if you order a bagel. Thinking further, it can be too different of an ask from other situations a latex allergy might find themselves in. After all, you're asking them to wash up and raw dog the goods in exchange for a big tip. What poses the question, if they put fingers in your bagel, would you make them tip bigger or smaller? Shout out to the young man I met at a wedding who had a latex allergy and thought he could find a girlfriend. Pull out boys, gang, gang. Mike H, sorry. Yeah, I don't, do they do that here?
Do they do what? Wear gloves?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, in the medical settings, it's all nitrile gloves.
Yeah, a lot of places
true.
We use nitrile.
That's true. It does.
I mean, that's for a while now.
Kelly has a latex allergy.
But I do think if you ask someone, like if you were to ask a service person to do that, given the circumstances, and they had to wash their hands and everything, that they deserve a bigger tip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's special,
so to speak.
just for you.
Yeah. Yeah. But good question. Some bizarre questions this week. Eric B says, let's talk music. Many of us, being close to the same age, would likely deem the golden era of hip hop to be the late 90s to early 2000s. That being said, set to your dream concert from that era. Mine would be Bone Thugs opening, Mace going on second, followed by DMX and closing with Jay-Z, but he brings out DMX for a feature, and they work in 24 Hours to Live with Mace and the Lox feature, and somehow the Lox perform 3 songs as a bonus. Now, what other era of music would you consider a golden era for a particular genre, whether it be rock, R&B, whatever? By the way, we've got to figure out this fair use statement so that we can get Bobby Boogie Bop mainstream, and I look forward to doing a Bone Thugs one with you one day, just so Pinkerton can recognize the greatest rap group of all time. Just kidding about that last part, but you know I'm biased. As always, keep up the great work. Love and miss y'all. Love you too, Eric. So can I cross genres?
I don't know. He was talking about hip hop.
That's true. So you got one off top?
Well, I went to the concert. I think that I'm trying to find it. So it was the Puff Daddy and the Family tour in '97. I saw it in Nashville. I'm trying to find who all was there. So it's funny. The first thing it pulls up is a Baltimore Sun article, and so it was Puff Daddy, Lil Kim, Mace, 112, Busta Rhymes, Foxy Brown, Usher, and Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
And I remember the Jay-Z didn't perform because his bus had caught on fire the day before.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, I remember like the bass from the Busta Rhymes performance, like it shook my eyeballs. It was the hardest bass I'd ever, and I know plenty of people that have crazy stereos and shit, you know, because of how we did in the South, listen to that West Coast rap. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably like you almost have to include the Wu-Tang Clan in that if you really want like a comprehensive. And you know what's funny? A lot of these.
It depends on what you want.
A lot of these bands are doing tours. Like there was.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Bro.
I mean, a lot of those people aren't here anymore. But
I saw Manson out of his prime. I don't regret it, but I don't look at him the same way.
Yeah,
mine would be the opener would be. Fuck man, DMX is a fucking. Sheesh.
Yeah,
all right, 4. Dipset is the opener.
Okay.
Followed by DMX. and then Outkast, and then Wu-Tang. I mean, Jay-Z.
Okay.
Hove. And Hove can bring out whatever guests he wants that are related to him. You know, Beanie and Freeway. I love both those guys. I love Beans. Beans is one of my favorites. Like that. You know, it's never in anybody's top. You know, whatever. But he's one of my personal favorites.
Grimy.
The song Beanie Siegel, "The Truth," is where I got the truth thing from. For my and for you, Joe.
I'm not a live person.
There's a Pearl Jam song about that.
No. Hey, yo! You are you're the blank. You're one of the blanks.
Yes. Prophet of the Faceless.
Yes.
I have that in. That's like the top of my Nerd Rage notes now. So I always remember it. We gotta flesh this out.
You're not a live person. Paul,
musically, I just pre-ordered some fucking Post Malone Magic the Gathering limited edition cards.
There you go.
That's gonna come out next
month.
month.
Had an interesting conversation about Post Malone this week.
Paul C says, it has finally happened. One of your friends has chosen to direct the new live-action Star Wars project. As has always been the case, this director is going to call on his friends to play some of the background characters. You've gotten the call. You get to play a significant but not main character role. You get to be a prominent on-screen character that you can point out when watching the movie that will have no individual impact on the plot but will be important visually. Who will you choose to be? A stormtrooper, TIE fighter pilot, Imperial officer, rebel soldier, or hanging out with Pooch Nickens as a background alien. You can pick who you want to be. I'm definitely kicking it with Pooch Nickens.
I'm definitely going to be a bar creep. I want to be that guy that in the original Star Wars, it was like he was very wide-eyed and had the pointy teeth.
The devil guy.
Yeah, that's what I want to be.
I pick an Imperial officer because it's the most comfortable thing to wear out of any of those things. I know what it feels like to wear a lot of those things. You don't want to be in that. You don't want to have to put makeup on for fucking 33 hours to sit on the screen for 5 seconds.
But you can just be a background alien. Like, you could be like a dude. You could just have like a...
Oh, it's just be Asian and slant eye.
It's okay because you said it.
Oh, yeah, I said it.
But wow. I could just be a guy with an eye patch. You know what I mean? In the back, and they're like...
That's right.
Oh, I like the guy with his arm cut off at the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of this going on, though, I guess.
Yeah, that's easy enough.
I just want to be me. Just put me in a get up.
Exactly. That's the opposite. You just wears a fucking uniform and just... Yeah, stormtrooper armor's not comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. Esteban, he writes in and says, Bobby has previously said that Andor isn't great, but it's like a good expanded universe material. I have to agree as a book reader, but I do think Andor is great. One of the things that I find really good about this show is how much restraint the showrunners and writers have with making the universe feel connected. You really have to pay attention to get Easter eggs and not direct cameos. My favorite of these examples is when the ISB officer is talking about over the last 5 years, there's been a little rebellion and uprising, and it's just too random to be random. We love that scene as well. During this conversation, she mentions planets and events that have taken place in different books and comics, but the uprising that we all collectively saw was the one on Kessel. I think it's really funny that she lumps in what Han Solo did on Kessel as part of the larger Rebel Alliance.
See, I didn't catch that.
Which makes sense because he ended up donating the money indirectly to the Alliance.
Yep.
Any other writer would have shown us the dinner party at Mon Mothma's apartment and jam-packed it with aliens from the prequels and the Clone Wars, but all you got was a hint that the governor and his high dignitaries were going to be there, which means Masameda and Sly Moore, the bald chick with Palpatine's right. I actually know who that is. I don't know when you're reading this, and I hope you enjoyed Wednesday's episode 6. What references would you like to be mentioned or alluded to? I know you guys got happy when the Old Republic was indirectly referenced. I'm just happy this show exists, and I'm happy that I have no idea where it's going or what we're going to see. So I never said it wasn't great. I said it wasn't amazing.
As your rating in general,
it's a slow burn. I mean, it's the first couple episodes, especially, was like very methodically paced. There was not a whole lot of action, and I was fine with that.
Yeah, I'm not being critical of it. I'm just saying that it's not. This show is not going to be remembered in the same way.
It won't,
because it doesn't have the iconic moments. It doesn't have, and that's okay. It's okay for Star Wars to just have a really great story that's just like, man, that was good.
So I was watching the latest episode, and forgive me, Esteban, protect Esteban. Yeah. I don't know which episode is out now, but this latest episode where Mon Mothma, I say it as a joke now, and what's the guy? What's the character's name? The art dealer guy.
The dealer.
Okay, they're having a conversation, and even the way it's framed, I'm like. In my head, I thought of you, Bobby. I'm like, this shit could be like on fucking HBO and totally unrelated.
100%.
Like, it's just the tension they're building.
100%.
Man,
it's really good.
Like when that episode was over, I was like, I immediately thought to myself, I'm going to watch that again. Like, and I can't tell you the last time. I know you're not a big Mandalorian fan, but like when the Mandalorian first came out, I was like, I'm going to watch that again because we hadn't had any Star Wars in so long. I don't know. I also
think that he's probably right in that it's filled with tons of nuance. That if you go back and really look, like all the artifacts that are in the dealer room, I'm sure there's little nods in there that if you look close enough.
Yeah, I watch a guy on YouTube, Screen Crush, and he does those 78 Easter eggs.
78 things you missed, Joe.
And normally, like as soon as I watch an episode, if he's already got his out, I just go right over it. Well, it's fresh in mind, and sometimes that's why I have good talking points. Is I'm gleaming stuff from him, but yeah. Like all that little shit, like the club, that everything is something tied to something. Like he's got one of those the Jedi guardian masks in there, and the guy was theorizing. He's like, well, they probably couldn't have that because of the Empire, so it's probably a copy. It's probably a counterfeit artifact.
And I'll be honest, I don't need any Easter egg. I don't need any of that shit.
Yeah,
I'm just enjoying. Yeah, I'm just enjoying it. Like if I were to get something, like maybe if they had some sort of nod to some of the stuff that went on in Rebels, maybe I don't even know how the timelines add up.
So I'll tell you that there is something in there. And this is from one of the Screen Crush videos. When they have the ISB meeting, but it's like the big meeting and like the big general, Mr. Mustache is there. He is
Dick Broom.
That dude. He is in the room in the Vader scene in episode 4, and he's also a character in Rebels.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
On the Republic side or whatever.
Right. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Jesus Christ. Corey writes in.
Joe and I are also able to read if you ever want to just take a reading break.
I mean, if you want to read it, you can. This is a long one. Something has been happening lately to my hobbies. Things I've been into for years are suddenly falling out, and I'm trying to understand why. I recently offloaded my comic collection I'd had for over 30 years. I sold off about 75% of my action figure collection. The collection I kept what had been consistently displayed for years and dumped anything that lived mostly its life in a bin, which we've talked about plenty of times.
That makes sense.
But I write all this to say this. I was trying to understand why I suddenly decided to do this. COVID killed the comic industry for about 6 to 8 months, and I think that was the start. Marvel stopped putting out movies, and then fast forward to today. I just started watching She-Hulk. I was excited when this started. She was never my favorite character, but there's something about her that I've always found at least entertaining. And to top it off, they're going to give us Daredevil again? Fantastic. That is, until this train wreck just kept derailing and collapsing in on itself. And it culminated in a fever dream of a finale that left me questioning one simple idea.
It's a great way to put it.
What the hell has happened to Disney with the MCU? For someone who loved this shit, yeah, all the villains are just evil versions of the heroes, and yeah, the humor is goofy and childish, but that's something that that clicked. And now I think I'm done. I don't care anymore. Wakanda Forever, I'll see it maybe on Disney Plus. Ant-Man and the Secret of the Ooze, or whatever they're calling it.
Love it.
Pass. Let's see. It's just not going to be true to the spirit of the comic. Just some goofy Looney Tunes Saturday morning cartoon bullshit. So the question is it time to admit that it's over? Is there any reason to think they'll right the ship before superhero movies fall off the way Westerns did for our parents and grandparents? Let me know what you all think. And for the record, the 3 comics I kept was X-Men #1, the actual copy my dad bought me that started me on comics, later signed by Jim Lee at a convention in Boston, the first appearance of the Phoenix, and the death of Gwen Stacy. Thank you for the hours of entertainment every week, Corey.
You're welcome. So I think we kind of covered some of that today already.
I think so too. But I will say for me, it was 2019, I think. It was 2019. I think, yeah. Because
what's when Endgame came out?
Endgame.
Episode 9?
Episode 9 in the Game of Thrones finale. Like, it was those 3 things that, like, the Game of Thrones one is the one that I enjoyed the most, but everybody hated. So it like kind of deflated my balloon, and it took the red off my sucker. As you say, Chris?
Exactly right. Licked the red off my sucker.
And then Endgame, I found to be a disappointment, with satisfying moments.
Yes.
And Star Wars 9 tore me apart,
bro.
It dismantled me.
We watched in the theaters together.
Yeah, man. We did. And then the next thing, then we're home for 2 years. And it's you could stew on that.
Yeah.
And we created hours and hours
and
hours of content about those things.
And that's exactly where I was headed, is that I think that COVID played a big part in it, but there's this one key element, and that's the last year before it all shut down was a lot of disappointment for me.
Yeah.
And the only saving grace that I have had through any of it has been the Snyder Cut. And even that is mixed like with this kind of like, it's, the grim, too grim, where it's like, yes, I just want a little, can I have a little bit of that, please? Can I have something not be so goddamn fucking happy all the time?
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with your statement, but I do think it's this. We talked about it leading up to it. We had whole conversations like, man, like how hard is it to actually close?
Yes,
it's fucking hard.
Yes,
So that's the only thing that I would add to it. Anything else on you?
No, I mean, I think with fandoms in general, everyone has a jumping off point. And we don't all have the same jumping off point, but most of us get off at some time. You can't keep it up forever.
Yeah,
you just can't.
Yeah, and I mean, Star Wars was a long. I'm still involved in it, but it's a whole different thing for me now.
Yeah, and also, I mean, with Star Wars is different than Marvel in a way that they have more to work with. They have more freedom of space and time.
Yeah, they don't have to tie it to any source material.
Yeah, where Marvel is like all one. Well, not anymore, but it was all one timeline, one universe. Same actors, they all have to cram year after year after year into.
Yeah, dude, and I think it's mixed also with like that email that was sent last week with like the talking about like the well, the well of talent is only so big, and with the kind of entertainment industry pumping out as much content as they are now, there's only so much talent. You're gonna get the mid CU.
You don't realize you're in the good old days until they're past.
Yeah.
So I think the good old days of the Marvel is unfortunately behind us. So the good thing is we can watch it whenever we want. There's still a lot of good movies. And
for me, it's not just Marvel. Like I say it all the time, but like, where are the usual suspects of this day? Where are the Sevens of this day?
Kaiser Soze?
Yeah. Where are, the Goodfellas? Where are, the casinos where Joe, as you like, where are these great fucking movies? So where's Reservoir Dogs today?
So here's the thing.
Where's Pulp Fiction? Where are these movies?
Bobby, listen, at that point we were sitting on the beach and we might splash in the water a little bit. Go out, maybe go up to our chest, be comfortable. We're fucking drowning in content right now. It's hard to pick out what's good. It's hard to watch.
It's hard to find it.
I'm not saying. Hang on a second, Joe. I'm not saying that those movies are out there and we just don't know.
Right.
But if they were,
it'd be hard to find.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I think even if I think you're overwhelmed. Even if I can't name anything off the top of my head, but I feel like we've said certain movies are really good in the past few years, but because there's so much of stuff, they get drowned anyway. Even if they are fucking amazing, they're still surrounded by so much shit that you can't pick them out in your head.
Well, here's a great example. We went through that list of top 100 TV shows. How many things that had come out in the past 5 years had none of us ever fucking even heard of?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Fair.
I mean, with this question in general, I always also question people's fandom. I think it's maybe a little bit different than mine. It's the same mentality of you ruined my childhood, right? Like when something goes bad or becomes something you don't like anymore, like you're out, and then you want to at least want to maybe think about getting rid of some shit. Where for me, it's not the same. Like I can see where my endpoint was, but I still doesn't change that I love those things before.
Same.
And I don't want to get rid of those things.
Same.
But you kind of do, though. You kind of like when you're out of the MCU, like you kind of wish you didn't have the hot toys or wanted to get rid of the hot toys, right? For me, I never get to that point where I get rid of the stuff from when I love it because I still love it the same.
So you are right. The only caveat to that is I felt that way at that moment because I am an emotional person. So
so you're not like that anymore?
No.
Okay.
I take this fucking hit and then I'm like, fuck it all. Burn it. Fucking burn it to the ground. And then after some time goes by, then I'm like, you know what? I still like having this. Still makes me happy. I just, but it takes I take a hit and I lash out at everything,
Yeah. So, but I think a lot of people don't though. They let everything else before be ruined from that point on.
Right.
So they get rid of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got another one from the illustrator. If you recall, he did that sound wave. And I'm not sure I totally understand this, but he says, I freaked out when you said Prime Soundwave, and when I double-checked and saw the reference image for the image, I was embarrassed and wondering how I screwed that up badly. I want to apologize for that. I had the actual drawing attached now. I think this is the actual drawing that we looked at, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I'm not saying, maybe it's not supposed to be Prime Soundwave. So I don't know. I don't know. But yes, I thought it would look great. The same
Yes,
image is the one that we got, and it looks
I love
great.
it.
We want to see it finished. He said, also, hearing your thoughts on Andor, I'm surprised you haven't talked about Luthen.
That's his name. That's the art dealer
where
guy.
he puts on a disguise and gets in character. I thought that was some of the best scenes.
That.
Yeah. I was
It's like he puts on his wig and he's like does this little like
and the mannerisms change.
he's like
yeah,
funny laughing.
Yeah, I thought that was great, and I think your Soundwave looks awesome. So Sam M, we haven't heard from him in some time.
What up, Sam?
He says, "Yo, boys, yay, not Y-A-Y, Y-E." Nori recently had Ye on for an interview on Drink Champs. Kanye was his usual self, let's just say. He was incoherent as ever and made some outlandish comments that I'm sure some found offensive. My grievance begins a day after the interview when Nori apologized for hosting it. In my opinion, Nori has nothing to apologize for and shouldn't apologize. I only know Kanye is nuts because he does interviews like this. What say you? So I don't know if you guys are following this at all.
I'm following it from a distance. On the surface, I don't really care because the guy has some mental health issues. I think
It's not news.
he is not medicated the way he should be. In my opinion, I think him breaking up with his wife has fucked him mentally even further. He's done some outlandish things to people who have made him millions and millions of dollars, such as Adidas and Gap and whatnot. I hope it doesn't end poorly for him. That's my 2 cents on it.
So,
and he's made some amazing music over the years. I think
incredible.
Hey, we don't know. We're in the good old days.
And he might be one of those. Like when the smoke clears, we might be talking about Kanye the same way that we talked about Prince or Michael or Stevie or one of those. He might be one of those minds.
Does he have anybody? I know everybody's got. Does he have like an entourage that is anything other than Yes Men? I don't know what his setup is.
I don't know. I know that. Here's the thing. He says some things that sound crazy until they're not. And that's not to say that everything he says isn't crazy, because I think some of the things that he says are crazy. And I think a lot of things that he says are misspoken and overly generalized. I called Sam. I saw this email come through, and I don't look at the emails prior to, but I saw the subject matter said yay, and I said, "You got a minute?" And he said, "Yeah," and I called him. I'm in the trenches with this. I've been following it from the moment, as you might expect.
Yeah.
So he made a bunch of comments. So he's made comments about the George Floyd shit. That, for instance, I think he's out of pocket on that one. He's out of pocket. Leave that alone. Then he's also made comments about Jewish people, and they are 1,000% overly generalized.
Okay.
But I think that is a problem that we are having in America in general, is we speak about things in an overly generalized way.
Okay.
When I hear Joe Budden say, when people have mental breakdowns, that's just for what they do for white people. When black people do it, they call them crazy. It's like, well, no, that's not fair. That's an overgeneralization of things that you're lumping this whole group of people because maybe Taylor Swift or Britney Spears, had a moment, right?
Yeah.
I think people do it with gay people, trans people, et cetera, et cetera. I think that we are living in an era where one person becomes the poster boy for an entire culture, race, sexuality, et cetera, et cetera.
Political standing.
1,000%. And I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it should be seen that way, but it just is what it is. So
I think part is because that's how the human mind works. We cannot comprehend all the individuals of a group, and then you that's why we categorize things.
So Kanye West works in the entertainment industry. If we are to be objective, there are a large portion of the entertainment business in the corporate positions that are Jewish.
Yep.
That's true.
So he is having interactions with a lot of Jewish people, and he is obviously frustrated. Whether or not those frustrations have any validity whatsoever, separate conversation.
Right.
But what I think that he is doing is he is placing this select group of people that happen to have one cultural thing in common and extrapolating that to make up the entire...
I mean, that's what raises the myth, though.
Correct. But I think everyone is doing it. And I think that in the media, a lot of people that I follow, that I'm fans of, Joe Budden, Charlemagne, that take place in like a hip-hop space in the media in a major way, have categorized white people that way. But what they don't understand is that the white person that grows up in Beverly Hills has little to nothing in common with the white person that grows up in Maple Village Trailer Park down the street. They don't have anything culturally in common at all. They're not living any sort of this remotely similar experience, but they get lumped together because of a lack of understanding, of nuance. And I think that when that becomes the pattern, that gets placed on other people. And when it gets placed on people that don't play that shit because of their past historic issues surrounding people that have tried to group them together in a negative way in the past, now you're gonna face some consequences. Whereas white people are kind of like, you know, like, okay, all right, yep, sorry again. Or they're like, oh, what can I do to make it better? I'll join whatever hashtag you want me to join. Just let me get by. You know, Jewish people are like, nope, we're not playing that. We're not. We played a little bit about 100 years ago, and we'll never do that fucking again. And now he's in some hot water. And it's interesting on a couple levels for me. One, because I'll be interested to see Kanye West is now the richest black man in American history. End of statement. That's amazing. I'm interested to see how a person with that sort of financial power can cope under being in a place where he is saying whatever the fuck he wants to say.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. So I'm curious and interested to see how it shakes out. I also think that, like, there's an interesting conversation that maybe is even too dangerous to have in this platform about when does diversity matter?
Yeah.
Does diversity matter in the upper management of Universal Music Group? And if so, is that a conversation that should be tabled? You know? But
I agree.
I'm interested to see how it shakes out. And I wish him the best because I am a fan of his music.
Right.
I often think
I mean, part of it is like we were talking about Ezra earlier is you got to set, at what point that line between art and artist.
Yeah.
At what point do you say it's too much?
Well,
I can't separate it anymore.
He even said something, because a lot of this shit, it's a 3.5 hour interview that I listened to before it got taken down. But a lot of this shit, it's the clips that they take, right? Because at one point in there, he says, look, I'm not angry at Jewish people. I'm jealous. And I didn't realize it till just now. But I'm jealous of how they come together. I'm jealous of how they support one another. I'm jealous of how they're not, shooting each other in Chicago at an outrageous number weekend by weekend. Like, I'm jealous. I want that for my people. It's something I'm paraphrasing, but it was something in that ballpark. But that was never a clip shown anywhere.
Right. That didn't make it on TikTok.
Correct.
Wow.
So, but I also agree that Nori shouldn't have to apologize.
No, he shouldn't. I mean, unless he felt like he baited him into some of that shit, and I don't. I haven't watched.
Or as a host, you could have. I don't. As a host, sometimes you have the responsibility to put a stop to things, right?
And he kept saying during it, he was like, Kanye, Jewish people love you. You have Jewish fans. Like, you have, he was trying, and he's not the most mature guy. I told you, he reminds me a lot of myself. I was telling to Sam, I was like, dude, Nori is me if I never met Laura.
Wow. That's powerful. Thanks, Laura.
Rick F. Sup, vampires. Keeping with the spooky time theme, have you ever seen a movie that kind of scared you as an adult? Doesn't have to be a horror film. For me, it was Episode 8. Just kidding. You motherfucker. That witch scared me, not while watching it, but weeks later thinking about it and hearing the goat talk. Does I like the taste of butter? I'm trying to think as an adult.
Yeah, Spice World.
Yeah.
You know, the shit that it's funny. The shit that scares me as an adult usually is like when like somebody goes to the bathroom. If I was like a lump on their neck or something, and like it's
or
like
they fall down the steps
The
on
real
accident.
shit.
or their wife is like going to work and gets in a car wreck and dies, and I'm like, fuck. You know, like it's not like clowns and shit, and like
No,
you know,
it's like real world
guys
shit
with
now.
sickles. You know, it's fucking, it's like real potential. Like fuck, like that's, you know, it's interesting because like they say like nightmares, right? Like the only evolutionary reason for nightmares is so that you experience something bad for the first time before you experience it for the first time, so that you're a little bit more prepared for it.
Yeah.
So as a kid, when you're irrational and you have no real concept of the world, it's about monsters and whatever, and then like, you know, so like when you meet a monster, you'll be prepared. But like then, like I feel like as a teenager, young adult, you like dream about getting in car accidents and shit. So like, so like when you get in a car accident, it's not the first time that you're experiencing it. And like I have dreams all the time about like, you know, like getting sick or my wife getting sick or shit like that, and or you know something or a friend or whatever. Like,
You guys remember your dreams in the morning?
A lot of times.
it's hit or miss.
I very rarely. Like sometimes when I first wake up and it seems to be gone by the time I would try to process it again.
I had a
Usually
dream.
sometimes remember later on in the day. Actually, something would
Really?
trigger me to remember it.
I had a dream last night that I was beating it up, and when I woke up, I was ready, and I reached over for her, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we're not sleeping in the same bed tonight." Just as fate would have it. But you know, what are you gonna do? Let's see. I hope I answered that to some level. Vex. He writes, Vex Supreme. What up, boys? Another great show. MVP, most vocal podcaster Joe Dolphin. Quick with the jokes and sharp on the comeback reactions. Because that one you landed, Leslie, like things that we are fans of. Stuck in the middle of nowhere, car broke down, phone is dead, middle of the summer, 10 miles until the next gas station. You walk the first 5 miles, then Bubba rolls up on a two-wheeler and says, I got you, jump on the back. Mind you, Bubba is shirtless, overweight, smells like garbage juice. Bubba. I thought he was saying the Robert D version of me.
Yeah.
Driving behind a dump truck and hairy. To make matters worse, you have to wrap your arms around him during the ride. Otherwise, you fall off the bike. Do you say, no thanks, I'll make it? Look left, look right, tell yourself nobody can see me and jump on. Much laughs, keep potting. How far are we? 10 miles? I'm walking.
Yeah, I'm walking. I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
And look, ain't nobody gonna pick my big ass up on any kind of bike to go sit, bitch.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter if it's Bubba or not. It's not even about
If it was somebody
it's
that,
about, I don't want to get in a fucking vehicle with someone I don't know.
I mean,
period.
if I could hop in the back of a pickup truck, I would probably do that.
So to me, I got to be honest, Bubba plays a little bit of a part. And not because it's a dude. Because like if it was it's the shirtless bit. Like I don't have to hold your naked skin, you know. 1, 2. I realized this week that Dante might have been onto something last week with the odor thing, the nose thing, being able to purify air. I am very sensitive to smells, and the stinking bit is what would make me walk.
Yeah.
I was with a guy recently, but he has a bit of a,
Watch your words there.
so to speak, breath issue. And I brought it up to him before. I was like, look, it smells like something dying in your mouth.
Yeah,
like,
Listerine strips, bro.
You got to do something. And it got better for a while. Now it's gotten worse again. But now it's like, now I feel a little bit mean about like, hey man, your breath stinks again. You know, but it's been going on for a couple weeks now.
Bro, buy him some of those. Like, hey, bro, I got you some Listerine strips.
Yeah.
That's it. And
But I think he needs dental help.
that's probably it. Yeah.
But anyway, that's what would keep me. And 10 miles, I can walk 10 miles. I can walk 10 miles with my fucking eyes closed. Like it's no big deal. Now, if we charge over 50 miles, something like
that's definitely a cutoff point somewhere where like the math doesn't add up.
At some point, we're going flesh to flesh, so to speak.
Whoa.
And then the last one is from Fighting Rabbit, Echoes of the Past. What's good, Magic Manus? Magic Mains. One morning, I'm doing my pre-workout routine. I'm throwing some trash away in the garbage, and I see it. I thought I'd left it far behind, and there it was to remind me that I can't run away Far enough. German fucking cockroach in the garage.
Oh no.
My question is, what's something disgusting you've left behind growing up that the mere idea of it coming back around you fills you with dread? Keep up the good work and whoop that trick, man.
Yeah. Get him.
Yeah, I don't know about something I left that's so disgusting that I've left behind.
My ex-wife.
Damn.
I mean, if I'm being 100%
But also
honest.
same. I see her
Yeah.
nowadays. Whew, I dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
My mother. I guess. But like, I'm trying to think about it. Like, I'll tell you this one thing that we had in my dad's basement. I don't know what their name was, but we used to call them spider crickets.
Okay.
They look like spiders. Big spiders like this, like probably this big around. But they jump like crickets.
Yeah, jumping spiders, yeah.
And I fucking hated those fucking things.
Yeah, they're not cool. I remember my great aunt's basement had those.
Yeah, my dad's basement had them, and like,
Sounds awful.
I'm glad we don't have them now. But like, if I were to see one, I'd probably freak out because they're quick. They'll give you a startle.
The jumping thing is what's dude.
It's
unpredictable.
Speaking of jumping, last story, and then we'll wrap up. On my walk that I take every day, and come across a snake that's a car drove over. And I was like, oh man, a snake. That's crazy. I don't really see much snakes around here.
Yeah.
Keep walking, walk right over another snake. And like, I didn't see it. And I took one step over and that motherfucker took off on me. I jumped about 8 feet in the air and said, oh, shit. And then before I landed, and then my wife has been making fun of me ever since.
Was Laura, was she with you?
Yep. And now every time that everything happens, she goes, oh, shit. Like,
That's great. Well, it's not that you're frightened by snakes. It startled you. That's what it is.
And I am frightened by snakes.
Well, but I'm saying,
Make it clear.
if you're walking, you're like, oh, there's a snake over there.
Nah,
Probably I'm just saying to make your heart skip a beat, but you're going to just go to the other side of the road.
Yes,
other
yes,
sidewalk,
yes,
right?
yes.
But you step over it.
Yeah, and that motherfucker took off.
So put that
'Cause
in,
they could have gone
in the
up,
woods
jumped
and make
on
it a
you.
rattlesnake. And
Yeah.
that shit's happened to me before.
Oh, fuck that, dude.
That's why outside sucks.
Yeah.
Don't go there. We build inside.
Well, I like outside on the concrete. That's
But snakes get on the concrete too.
yeah, but
And y'all are some city mouse motherfuckers. I'll tell you.
I am, bro.
anyway,
It's like that one video you showed us of you walking by.
that guy scared me.
Yo, that shit was hilarious.
Fucking shit. Yeah, I'm gonna get him back. I've already got it planned. But I'm playing the slow game so that he forgets. Look, we're pressed for time. Chris got to get home. Shout out to the rest of the Cool Table. If you listen to this, as far as I'm concerned, you're part of the Cool Table too. Shout out to the rest of the Nerd Rage team. Dante on Facebook, Phil doing our notes and on Twitter, and thirsting on a regular basis. Shout out to Raul on Instagram. Shout out to Ricky Tiki Timber on the videos. Anybody else working behind the scenes? And with that, flap your labias.
Tasty tank.
Tight dick player.